Uh, for Maryville, they have quickness in the line. I think the quickness is what the Maryville, both offensive and defensive lines, are going to have to adjust to. They're going to be playing against big, quick people really for the first time this year. So, again, there's a little bit of an edge each way on this. In the line, I think Crown Point has the edge. In the secondary, I believe Maryville has the edge as we go here. So, again, that's a little bit of a hedge on my bet on that answer, but I don't think it fits perfectly to say one is totally the advantage.
That's an old media trick. Make sure that you are diplomatic in any situation. So Gary, thank you for the update. We're really excited about this game. Please give us a call back here shortly. We'll bounce back with you. We've got another call that we're going to get to. So greatly appreciate your help, Gary.
Okay, you got it.
All right, Gary Graben, the best in the business, in my opinion. So, but we have Chuck DeMoss, another one of the best in the business. He's got an update from West Central and Tri-County. Chuck, how are you out there?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you guys doing?
Oh, doing really well. We're excited for another week of football.
Yes, yeah. We got this game's well underway. We got 5:27 to go in the first quarter. Tri-County got the opening kickoff, and they turned it over on downs, and it did West Central a short field on the 38-yard line. A few plays later, Jacob Perlarski from 4 yards out ran it in. The two-point conversion was ran in by Aidan White. That's where we stand right now, 8-0. West Central has the ball again, just crossed midfield with it.
So, Chuck, what kind of offense does West Central run?
Well, they've only thrown once, and pretty much they're in a wing keep formation. They've been in a split back. They've run a couple different offenses here, so this is just the second time they've had the ball, so I really haven't seen a whole lot yet tonight.
Chuck, does both schools look kind of equal in size, or is West Central a little bigger on the offensive line?
No, Tri-County's a lot bigger than West Central on the offensive line. It counted, they've got over 9 guys over 200 pounds. West Central's got 2 guys over 200 pounds. Wow. So Tri-County's got a big advantage on the line, but so far they haven't been able to do anything when they've had the ball. Turned it over on downs, and they just punted the ball back to West Central.
Well, there's a lot of football to be played yet. So, yeah. So Chuck is we're getting a little bit of background noise on you. What is the score and time?
We have 4:20 to go in the first quarter, and West Central is ahead 8-0.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. We'll give you a call later.
Sounds good. All right. When you're deep into Eastern time zone, some of these games start early, so we're excited about that. We've already got some scoreboard updates, and we are going to go ahead and take a break on 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio.
Lakeshore Public Radio is falling short of our fundraising goal to date. Since roughly half of our annual budget comes from local community support, we need your help to get back on track. This is your chance to ensure trusted local journalism continues to thrive in Northwest Indiana. Please visit lakeshorepublicradio.org and pledge your support by making a donation today to help power public radio tomorrow. Thank you.
Indie rock singer Ezra Furman says she was debilitatingly shy in high school, except when she played music.
The stage is like medicine for me. You know, I couldn't ever say where I was at to a person in conversation.
Talk with her about her past, present, and her new album, All of Us in Flames, Saturday on Weekend Edition from NPR. Tune in at 7 a.m. for Weekend Edition here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM, streaming online at lakeshorepublicradio.org.
What makes something cool or not? One culture writer says status is the answer.
Rugby shirts are a timeless item. Football jerseys aren't. You know, so these things aren't accidental. They do really map to power and hierarchy and things like that.
But we can redefine cool and maybe shake up old power structures along the way. Find out how next time on It's Been a Minute from NPR.
Tune in Saturday morning at 9 and Sunday afternoon at 3 here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio. And now, the Game Night broadcast team.
All right, we are back, and we want to thank, Pepe's Off-Broadway. Pepe's Tacos off Broadway for providing the game night crew with some of the best tacos around tonight. Join Pepe's for their second annual Mexican Independence Day Fiesta, Saturday, September 10th, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. There will be outdoor patio seating, live bands, and a DJ, and a beer/margarita garden. Oh, and they really do have great tacos, too. Owner-operator Adam wishes the Maryville Pirates good luck on the game tonight, and Pepe's is located at 260 East 94th Drive, right off Broadway in Maryville. Again, thanks to Pepe's Tacos.
Is there anything better than tacos? No, absolutely. Absolutely delicious. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. And of course, thank you to NIPSCO. NIPSCO's been a huge supporter of what we do here in Northwest Indiana and Lakeshore PBS, and they keep the lights on for us literally and for everyone else around here in Northwest Indiana. So we really appreciate everything they do and their generosity towards us. So we're going to go ahead and re-enter the conversation with Gary Graven. Gary, are you there?
I am there, but I'm waiting for some Pepe's Tacos after Wayne had that read. Holy cow.
Oh, it's very good. I love Pepe's. Been going there for a long time. It's one of the best.
Well, so what do you have for us, Gary?
Well, two other games that I'll be looking at tonight. You touched on a little bit earlier. One is New Prairie at Lowell, and we're going to see with Lowell, again, Riley Bank has been basically their offense this year, and they're going to have to find something else as this season goes on, because the good teams on the schedule are going to be able to handle one player. So there are lots of things flowing around, even talk of Riley Bank maybe moving to running back or something and having a different quarterback. We'll have to see if there are any adjustments made here by Lowell, because they are definitely hamstrung here a little bit with Malachi James being injured and not having the running game that they were counting on. So we're going to have to keep an eye on Riley Bank there. And then you also touched on the importance here. This Michigan City-Chesterton game tonight is a big game. If Michigan City goes 0-3, I think we're all going to be pretty shocked by that. But by the same token, for Chesterton, if they can get a win and start dueling play with this win tonight, the confidence level here, I think, could be incredible for Coach Peterson, the young quarterback, Brady McCormick, and the rest of the team there. So I think those are two intriguing games to watch tonight. We know New Prairie is one of those teams that has the potential to get all the way to Indianapolis, and they are in this 4A sectional now with Hobart, with Lowell, with these schools here. They are now a team that is part of this game here that we have to pay attention even more to. Because they are going to be a mover and a shaker as we get into the playoffs.
And Gary, obviously, you know I have a soft spot for New Prairie. I am friends with their head coach, but there's something to be said about a team that has to travel from New Prairie, which is east of Laporte, all the way down to Lowell. And you never really know what is going to happen when a team like that has to travel.
Well, the Inferno has always been a tough place to play. You know, it still has natural grass, and it's natural grass that has some different kinds of contours in it. There's lots of things here that make it a true home field advantage. But again, I think Lowell is going to have to really make it take a step up here to hang with New Prairie tonight, because New Prairie has a lot of weapons, and for Lowell, it's finding more weapons. And there may be people who, when the season started, we wouldn't necessarily think about their names being mentioned that much. But because of injuries and the situation Lowell's in, it's step-up time for some of these players if this is going to end up being a successful season for the Red Devils.
Gary, I have a question, and that is, you mentioned the fact that New Prairie is in the sectionals around here. Now, does that mean that we need to start adding New Prairie to our top 10?
I would say yes, but, my commenting on the top 10, I usually like to make fun of your picks, not your top 10. But I would say, that 4A sectional this year is so much different. Culver is in that sectional also. A lot of teams around here play Culver. I know, obviously, Hanover is playing Culver tonight, and they're trying to avenge their only regular season loss from last year where they blew a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter to Culver. But Culver, I know Morton has added Culver to their schedule. So that 4A sectional, I believe, is Culver, East Chicago, West Side, Highland, Hobart, KV, Lowell, and New Prairie. So it is a hearty sectional now, adding Culver and New Prairie along with the powers that be like Hobart and Lowell. So that sectional has changed dramatically now, and I think we probably do need to play a little more focus on New Prairie and their involvement here, because they truly are. I mean, when we look at the teams that are impressive out of the gate here, we know that Crown Point and Maryville, Hanover impressive out of the gate, but New Prairie is also impressive out of the gate. So I will not send you a nasty message if you put them in the top 10.
Well, that's
but
good.
I will let the air out of your tires. But that's just I want to.
Yeah, that's more of an act of endearment at that point.
That's exercise. That's cardio for me.
Well, while we have you here, Gary, you can comment on Wayne's top rankings list right now. So let's go ahead, Wayne, and start with the Little Five since we mentioned that. Wayne, what do you got on the Little Five?
Well, I've got Knox at number 5. They were 1-1. They lost last week. They impressed me at first, but we're going to have to see. I'm sure that Coach Radke wasn't too happy with last week's play. River Forest has been really good. 2-0 on the season. Nice start for them. Rensselaer is Rensselaer. You know, they're tough. They run the ball. Coach Meeks is an outstanding coach. Judson is off to a 2-0 start. Now, they had a good second half of the year last year, but now, you know, starting out 2-0, they're right back at it. And then I like Hanover Central as number 1. They've proven they can score. I like to see them maybe as we move down the road and see what, kind of a competition that they can, get up and play.
Sure.
But right now, I like Hanover Central as number 1.
I tend to agree with you with Hanover Central. They need some more tests. They've looked mighty impressive so far this year. They've been just blowing teams out.
But they will get a test, I believe, tonight because they play Culver Academy. And Culver beat them, I believe, last year, to end their undefeated season. Is that right, Gary?
Yeah, that's correct. Remember that Culver was down 20 in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And came back and won that game. So it was a devastating loss for Hanover. And that's their last regular season loss since then.
So maybe there's a little bit of revenge factor here for Hanover Central.
And it is at Hanover tonight on their brand spanking new turf that they just had put in, their artificial turf.
Oh, that's exciting. So that'll be an interesting one. Hopefully we get some good highlights from that game and see how that one turns out.
We've got Al Rodriguez. I was just looking at the paper. We have Al. Big Al Rodriguez is going to call in.
He's back with us on those home games in Hanover.
That's exciking. You never know what's going to happen with Al Rodriguez. So
that's right. Buckle up.
Seatbelts on, right? So
Wayne, how about when you get to the Big Ten here, where does Hanover not fall into that top 10?
Well, just because, Lake Central had a great start against Munster. Portage had an opening win on the season. Now, I know that Lowell has struggled a little bit. I don't feel that the schedule up until this point has been enough to move into the top 10. Now, if they can beat Culver tonight, I really think that there is a possibility of Hanover moving up.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I am a big fan of prove it, and they have been proving it so far. They've been high powered. They've been blowing teams out. That's what you want. That's how little quote unquote little teams end up becoming impressive, and that's how they get into the top 10.
That's right. And remember, they're doing it with a quarterback who didn't play last year. The one who did play, Kuntz, I believe his name.
Yeah, Matt Kuntz.
He has not played yet this year, and a Tony Bartolomeo took over and really did a nice job last week. Didn't you think, Darryl?
Hasn't missed a beat. So
all right, finish that top 10 down there, Wayne.
All right, so I'm looking at Lake Central at number 10. Yeah, they lost last week, but it was to an out-of-state team, and they had a chance at the end of the game to win it, but they just couldn't pull it out. Portage played a tough one last week, and I think that they're going to be 9. Lowell, Lowell, like you said, Gare, I think that they're going to have to find another weapon. If they rely just on their quarterback, they're going to struggle. That could be a place where if Lowell doesn't play well tonight, a New Prairie or a Hanover could move in. At number 7, I have Michigan City. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for something to happen there because they've got too much talent. They've got that Jalen Hurt kid.
Oh, yeah.
And last year we made fun of the fact that, he could run the ball, but he couldn't even drive to the stadium. Now he's a sophomore, and, he is a good player. And their quarterback, Tyler Bush,
right?
He's back again. Does that mean that Michigan City was, trying to get their feet under them in the first couple of games, or did they lose too much to graduation? That's my one of.
We'll have to see.
That's 7. Hobart is number 6. They're 0-2, but it's Hobart. The same thing with number 5, Andrea, 0-2. But again, Andrean, they have talent. Chesterton is 4. Number 3 is Valparaiso. Nice win for them. And Maryville, okay, here it comes, and I know Gary's going to give me hell here, but
wow, that's the language there. I would never curse at you.
Maryville is number 2, and the number 1 team I thought in this week is the Crown Point Bulldogs. And I know that that's the big game tonight, Crown Point versus Maryville. I just thought I was a little disappointed that Maryville didn't come out and dominate their opponents the last 2 weeks.
I'm confused. Why do you think I would give you heck about that, Wayne?
Well, it's kind of in your nature, isn't it?
No, it is, but that's about anything.
So keep this in mind. Maryville has been the king of Northwest Indiana football for some time now, the last few years. Well deserved as well. They have been dominant. They're athletic. They're scoring points. They're dominating on defense. Something about this Crown Point team so far this year, the temperature's a little different. Something's there, and that's why this game today is going to be really, really important.
Well, what's different? It's the buzz. You know that.
Of course.
So, Wayne, are you picking Crown Point tonight?
I am.
Okay.
I'm taking Crown Point. I know it's at Maryville, but if Crown Point can bring the Dragons from the House of Dragon, maybe they can win this one.
I'm still hurting by that line. You think I'm going to give you heck? Jeez. You think you know a guy.
You've only known him for 20 some odd years. Yeah, right. Yeah. So I think this game is going to really come down to how well does Crown Point's impressive line respond to some really, really talented and athletic athletes on the Maryville defense. Oftentimes when you have trying to establish a running game, those linemen have to get to the second level. They have to get in front of a linebacker, maybe even a safety. Depending on the blocking scheme, have to get out onto corners. And when you have super hyper athletic defenders, as Maryville does, oftentimes you don't make those blocks. It's really difficult sometimes. So I think that's going to be one of the keys.
I really think that J.J. Johnson is going to be a real key here. That option they run fools some of the people early on a little bit. Didn't realize how good J.J. was, I don't think that he's going to get 3 or 4 touchdowns like he did the last couple of weeks against this Maryville defense. That's just not going to happen. So we haven't heard much about their running back. What was it? Who's the running back for Crown Point?
That's Elijah T1.
Yes. I know he can run. I know he's a very good back. I know Crown Point's really looking to give him the ball a lot. He's going to have to step up because Maryville will try to take away Johnson on that option. And then if JJ has trouble throwing it or, Taiwan can't get open, then we've got some problems for Crown Point.
Well, that's, when you think about the situation JJ is in, if he does have to throw, in practice, there aren't the same kind of DBs for Crown Point that Maryville has.
Right.
So it is an adjustment. You can't simulate that same kind of speed in practice. So that's probably one of the goals here, is to try to get Crown Point to have to throw more than they really want to, even though they have capable receivers. We've talked about this even last week. Jack Nicholson's favorite receiver, Raymond Santiago, is having a great season. But those kind of moments are the chess game of what's going to happen here tonight.
And Maryville has a really good safety who did not play last week, Philip Roche. He's I believe, senior now, and he was all area last year. He didn't play, so if he's not injured, he plays tonight. That's going to be a good matchup for the Crown Point receivers.
Well, and on top of that, it's a beautiful night. There is a breeze, a southerly breeze, maybe 10, 15 miles an hour, but the conditions are perfect for star players to be star players tonight.
And
write that down, Wayne. That was good. Star players are going to be star players.
Star players are going to be star.
And I'm writing down Rensselaer is Rensselaer.
Okay.
Perfect.
I got that one
Perfect.
down.
Are both those sayings going on a T-shirt for Steve Schmidt?
You just never know. Steve's a big fan of the T-shirt, so you never know what could appear next week.
All right, Gary, thank you much. I appreciate the updates. Looking forward to hearing more from you throughout the night.
All right, sounds good, fellas.
All right, thanks, Gary. And we're going to go ahead. We're going to take a quick break here on 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio.
At Lakeshore Public Radio, nearly half of our annual funding comes directly from local community support. People like you who support our mission of enriching Northwest Indiana through trusted programming that keeps listeners connected to our community, as well as to unique worlds of music, history, culture, art, and more. So please do your part and visit lakeshorepublicradio.org today to make your donation in support of this station. Thank you.
You think it's behind you. You've come so far, done so much. You think you'll never see them again. But turn around, and there they are. On the next Snap Judgment, the wedding guest. Snap Judgment. Do not miss it.
Saturday at 11 and Sunday at noon here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM.
We went out to dinner with friends. He would say, to my utter humiliation, "You never touch Mercia's food. You can train husbands, but occasionally they slip the leash and run amok."
Join us for stories all about adventures into the unfamiliar. That's next time on the Moth Radio Hour from PRX.
Tune in Saturday at noon and Sunday at 1 here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio. And now, the Game Night broadcast team.
Ben Kolodzinski here with Game Night, joined by the whole crew here in Lakeshore Public Radio. But we have an update here from Chuck DeMoss. Chuck, what's going on out there?
Yeah, West Central has scored twice since we talked to you last. Jaden Miller ran one in from 19 yards out. 2-point was good by Aidan White. Spencer Lehman just ran one in from 44 yards out. The 2-point was good by White again, and that's where we stand with 11:27 to go in the second quarter. West Central 24, Tri-County 0.
Chuck, 24 points for West Central. They're an offensive juggernaut. Where did this come from?
Well, these seniors have been playing since they were sophomores. West Central went through 2 or 3 years where they didn't win anything hardly. These kids have grown, they've matured. They've added a few extra players who haven't played football, and they've got 31 players out this year, and they're looking pretty good right now.
All right, Chuck, I really appreciate the update here. Again, what is the score and the time?
We have 11:18 to go in the second quarter. West Central 24, Tri-County 0.
All right, thanks, Chuck.
Let them play. All right, guys.
All right, so we've got the game moving at a quick pace there. A lot of running and a lot of scoring. And Wayne and Andrew and Steve Schmidt is here. We're all here to get some excitement going on here in week one, and we've got a scoreboard update from Steve Schmidt.
And now, your Game Night scoreboard update.
What's up, Lakeshore Game Night? Steve Schmidt here for week 3 of the high school football season. Let's see what's going on around the region. First off, we have the start of Duneland play tonight. 7 o'clock kickoffs for all 4 of these games. We have 2-0 Crown Point Bulldogs at the 2-0 Maryville Pirates. 1-1 Lake Central Indians travel to 1-1 Portage tonight. Laporte's 0-2 on the season. They'd like to pick up their first win tonight on the road at Valpo, taking on the 1-1 Vikings. Michigan City's also looking to pick up their first win of the season tonight as they travel to the 1-1 Chesterton Trojans. 1-1 EC Central takes on Munster tonight at 7 o'clock. Both teams are coming into this contest 1-1. 6:30 kickoff in the first quarter. No score in this one yet. That's the 2-0 Elkhart Lions are taking on the 0-2 Morton Governors at Morton. 0-2 Westside Cougars look to pick up their first win of the season on the road tonight at Highlands. They take on the 1-1 Trojans. Another 6:30 kickoff just getting underway as 0-2 South Bend Clay is at 1-1 Hammond Central. This is a big night for Hammond Central and the school city of Hammond as they're opening up their brand new football stadium. Moving on now to the Greater South Shores. It's a battle of 2 0-2 teams as Boone Grove Wolves take on the 0-2 South Central Satellites. 2-0 Calumet travels to 0-2 Wheeler, where Wheeler sports a 14-4 record all-time over the Warriors. 1-1 Culver Military and 2-0 Hanover Central. This is going to be a good one around the region tonight. This game has just kicked off in the first quarter. 1-1 Griffith travels to 0-2 Hobart. Lake Station is 1-1 on the season. They travel to 2-0 River Forest. KV is 1-1 on the season. KV Cougars taking out 0-2 South Bend Washington. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff. New Prairie is 2-0 on the season, traveling to Lowell, who is 1-1 on the year. Additional games we're covering on the scoreboard tonight is Calumet Christian at North Judson, Culver Community at Knox, Rensselaer at Hamilton Heights, and West Central at Tri-County, which you just heard it from Chuck. Second quarter of action. West Central's up 24-0. Stay tuned for all scoreboard updates throughout the night. I'm Steve Schmidt.
All right, thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Sounds like there's already been some pretty impressive performances for West Central right now. But let's talk about some of the action that happened last week and some of the excellent performances we had. So coming from the offensive side, and this is a name that we have mentioned multiple times this week. We've got J.J. Johnson, Crown Point, the quarterback. 4 touchdowns, 243 total yards versus Andrean. Wayne, what do you think is the key to him to continue this success?
Well, it's going to be the offensive line. I really think that if the offensive line tonight can open up some holes for JJ, we know he's quick. We know he's matured. We know that he can pass the ball, 4 touchdowns and 243 yards. Wow. That's going to be a big factor tonight against Maryville. If Crown Point gets down, they can't get down too far, especially on the road. So they need to score maybe first in some way, let that defense get a couple of stops, maybe a turnover. That might be the key, Ben. Who turns the ball over more?
Right. Absolutely. And control that ball, give yourselves an opportunity to score. We have an update coming from the team that we're going to speak of here real soon or real quickly. But last week, Gannon Howes from Hanover Central had 3 touchdowns and 1 interception versus Morton. So he's playing exceptionally well as per usual.
Yeah, last year he really stepped out. His brother and him kind of dominated defensively and offensively for, one of the players that dominated for Hanover Central. He's a key factor. But so is this Kyle Hazley. He's their halfback. First week, he gets 4 touchdowns. Now, last week, they didn't need him as much.
Right.
So he only got 1 touchdown. But he's a factor. And also, so is the young quarterback, Bartolomeo. Tony is, has good pedigree. His father was a head coach at Lake Central for a while. And, they're a football family. And I was really happy with how he performed last week. He is taken over kind of in the quarterback spot, and they're moving.
Yeah, and speaking of Hanover Central, we've got Al Rodriguez here with an update from Culver and Hanover. Al, how are you this season?
Hey, how are you guys doing tonight? Friday Night Lights.
Hey, buddy.
It's beautiful out here. We got a packed stadium, and people are still trying to get in.
Well, nice to have you back.
Hey, it's great to be back. It's great to be above ground still. You know this? And it's a beautiful night for football. Beautiful. And we're at capacity here, and they're still trying to get in. And just to give you an update, Hanover got the kickoff, marched down the field, and had a 56-yard touchdown band. Go! Hanover scored again! Woo!
It's always exciting with Al Rodriguez.
Picked off by lineman. Oh, my Lord. Hildeman just picked off a pass to the quarterback and scored on at least 20-yard run. Woo-hoo! Hanover's up 13-0 right now. They're going to go for the point after.
So, Al,
I get kind of worked up.
That's okay. Explain to us what just happened there.
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Can you explain to us what just happened there? It sounded pretty exciting.
What was the kid's name again? Ryan Hildeman just intercepted a pass from the quarterback, the lineman, and just scored on a 20-yard run, carrying a couple of cover football players with him. Now they're going for the point after. It's good. Hanover's up 14-0 with that run and a 56-yard pass earlier when they marched down the field from Bartholomew to House. You're talking about Gannon House. He just scored again. So we're up 14-0. 7 minutes left in the game, first quarter.
So it seems
they missed the point after. I'm sorry, I'm going blind here. Stand here and I'm going blind. Talk about a good commentator. Anyways, they missed the point after, so it's 13-0.
So, Al, it appears that Hanover has started off on the right foot here.
Oh, start on the right foot, the left foot, and down the field. I'll keep you guys up to date, but it's fun out here. It's packed.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Al.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
You got to love Al Rodriguez. You know, he wears his heart on his sleeve right there. We love it. Very exciting. And what about that timing, being on air right as a pick six happens by a lineman? Every lineman's dream. So it seems like Hanover Central is off to a good start here. But going on and talking about some other really good performers on the offensive side of the ball, there's from River Forest, there was Aidan Silver. He had 3 touchdowns versus Boone Grove. You know,
he's had a good opening, you know, for this season. In the first game, he scored on the final play. He scored, and River Forest was able to go on to win. I believe that against Wheeler. But now he's had 3 TDs against Boone Grove. And right now, River Forest is on a roll.
It appears so. They've been one of the pleasant surprises of this season. They've looked really sharp, and it's going to be interesting to see how they continue to progress going throughout the season. For Andrean, last week, there was Patrick Clax. He had 3 touchdowns on 142 yards against Crown Point.
Yeah, and he was really coming on last year, real strong as a wide receiver. Now, all of a sudden, he's the main man. They graduated a couple of receivers. Everybody's looking to stop, Bowen, Drake Bowen. Their defenses are, designed to stop his running and pass catching ability. So that means that you have to have somebody else step up. Clax is doing that. 2 weeks in a row now, he's really played well.
And speaking of his opponent today, you've got Justin Marshall from Maryville. He had 2 touchdowns and 264 total yards against Hobart.
We've ever since Justin moved from Calumet to Maryville, everybody knows that his speed, his ability to catch the ball is outstanding. But this year, they're using him much more at the halfback spot. They're flaring him out. They're dumping little passes and stuff to him. Any way that they can get him in space, because he's got the moves, he's got the speed to hurt people. Well, obviously, 2 touchdowns and 264 total yards shows that he is really a player this year.
Really impressive performance. And what's difficult when you're such a tremendous athlete like that is not burning yourself out, but he seems to be doing all right.
Yeah,
and that's good.
Right.
So let's move on to the defensive side of the ball. We've got really one that I wanted to highlight here. We've got Tyler Verscher, Valpo. He had a pick 6 versus Hammond Central.
Yeah, Valpo's always had a good defense. This young man wasn't known very much last year. Now he's kind of stepped in for some of the guys that graduated. And anytime, you said it just earlier, anytime a lineman gets a pick six and takes it in,
Right.
what a great day for him.
Right. So speaking of kind of some unknown players, some players that came out of the darkness and as really impressed last week, we have another Maryville player of Terrell Elmore. So he had an interception against Hobart.
Yeah, and again, he's quick. I think he's a defensive back for Maryville, and he timed it right. Not many interceptions last year for Noah Ehrlich. And so obviously, anytime you can get a pick like that, you need recognition.
Absolutely. And another Maryville defender, Fred Reddick. He also had a interception.
So now you're looking at a Maryville defense that is spreading out the, interceptions and stuff. That just bodes well. It doesn't bode well for J.J. Johnson.
No. No. But let's be fair, though. J.J. Johnson is an excellent quarterback. So, oftentimes there's circumstances where, maybe he just has a great game and he takes care of business against this very talented Maryville defense.
Who's this Travis Davis?
Travis Davis, he was Valpo. He had 2 touchdowns against Hammond Central. It was a really good performance by him.
Valpo has always had great backs, and they always produce. And Davis just waited his turn, and that's in a program like Valpo's. That's what you got to do as an underclassman. You support the seniors, let them have their day. And now it's, Travis Davis's day. And I look for big things for him with this Valpo team.
And that's something that big programs like Valpo have. They have depth. And I always liked to see how hard the backup was working, because the backup's who's going to push the starter. And it's good to see that he's getting his chance, his opportunity, and he's really making the best out of it. So very, very impressive performance by him.
I've got one or two more here that I came up late for me. Number one is Terrell Caldwell from Calumet. They played Westside last week. I didn't know till the end of the week here when I was looking at the paper. He had 4 touchdowns and over 307 yards total. And Calumet is known to have good, offensive backs there. He must be continuing the process there for Calumet.
307 yards of total offense is a monstrous performance. You don't see those types of numbers get racked up very frequently.
And Daniel Asjaden is from Munster, and he had 3 TDs and 208 yards in Munster's victory last week. And a nice write-up in the paper about their quarterback, A.J. Preboy, who helped develop the offense this year for Munster. But this Asjaden really had a nice day. And the last one is a special teams person. We haven't had many field goals yet this year, but Giovanni Martinez for Maryville had a 22-yarder versus Hobart. And as a football player, when it gets cold, you've got to have a kicker to win the football game. If you don't have a kicker, you're not going to win many games in cold weather.
That's true. How many games have we seen decided by 1 missed extra point, or the necessity of having to go for 2 because you missed one earlier in the game and it not working out? So it's very impressive, and also it's really difficult to kick at Maryville. For those of you folks who are from the area and have seen Maryville Stadium, it is wide open on each end, and it is almost like a wind tunnel going through there. So if you're a talented kicker at Maryville, you're doing something right.
That's right. It's a beautiful stadium, but it's almost like kicking for the Bears in the Chicago Stadium.
Well, that's if the Bears go ahead and build this new indoor stadium, we might actually get away from that.
And speaking from experience, working games next to Delling Park and Hammond, when you're right next to the highway, all those cars whipping by, that creates wind. So Maryville being right next to the highway as well, in a wind tunnel, there you go. That's another factor too.
Yeah, very well could be. And I've always said that the most underappreciated player, particularly at the high school level, is the kicker.
Right.
Yes.
I was blessed to play with a young man named Carl Joya. who was an excellent kicker. He ended up going to Notre Dame, getting some NFL workouts. He was a tremendous kicker, and he won some games for us when I was at Valpo. So it's really important, and it's often overlooked.
Yeah, it really is. And as long as you've got to go, give credit to the holders. Those people that are holding and the snapper, that's an unsung position, and yet a very important one.
All right, Wayne. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of the other games that we haven't gone over, and feel free to add any input if you'd like. We've got Boone Grove versus South Central in the Greater South Shore Conference. Boone Grove struggled a little bit so far this year. South Central has a history of being pretty talented, so that'll be an interesting game itself. Yeah, it will be. And,
it's tough for a small school like Boone Grove to reload much like a Valpo or a Maryville and stuff like that. So they need to get their footing right now and get on the right track. And I think they could do that against South Central. Very well could. And speaking of teams that are getting back on the right road and making sure they're moving in the right direction, at Calumet, like you said, just had some great performances. They're playing Wheeler today. Yeah, and that's going to be a good game. I know Wheeler lost last week, and Calumet won 36 to, I believe, 16 versus Westside. Calumet's a good team. When Gary and I were talking about the top 10, where do you put a Calumet? They're undefeated, right? And that's always a quandary, because do you put Calumet above an Andrean who's lost 2 games? I personally wouldn't. Yes, and most people wouldn't. But yet Calumet has shown that they can score. So, Calumet, Hanover Central, when are they able to move into the big boy poll? And maybe we need to have a discussion about this, and a meeting of the minds at some point here. So a couple more I just wanted to mention before we head off to a break here. We've got Lake Station at River Forest, so that should be an exciting game. River Forest is looking good so far this year. Yeah, they really are. And Silver has really done a great job. Last year, they lost their top running back to graduation. In a small school like that, you do something like that, you better have somebody to step in. And this Silver obviously looks like somebody that will do that. Yeah, he's looking good so far. And then the last game I wanted to mention for the Greater South Shore is Whiting at Bishop Knoll. That game is unfortunately canceled. Oh. So that, from what I understand, there might have been some illnesses on these teams, and that's kind of what sources are saying. But that game is not being played tonight, and no further updates as to see how that is going to be going forward. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here, leading into the 7 o'clock hour. Their kickoffs are right ahead of us, so buckle up. It's going to be a fun night.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio.
Think for a moment about all the ways Lakeshore Public Radio keeps you informed. You hear local, national, and international news throughout the day. You also hear deep dives into music, culture, art, science, and everything else that makes our lives richer. None of this happens without listener support, and it's why your contribution is so important. Please donate now at lakeshorepublicradio.org or call 877-910-8989.
Tracking down a shadow workforce.
How long has it been operating?
About how many people go through the programs every year?
Can you walk me through what a day in the program looks like?
That puts rehab participants to work without pay.
10 hours a day.
If God forbid it rains, because every day you miss for rain, you lose a Sunday.
An update on our serialized investigation, American Rehab, on the next Reveal.
Tune in Saturday afternoon at 2 and Sunday morning at 9 here on Lakeshore Public Radio.
What's it like to look someone in the eyes and decide, do they live or do they die?
Too many patients.
We're running out of oxygen.
You're going to murder my father?
No, she can't have the oxygen. Turn it off. How could you possibly think that that's a good idea?
Did you murder those patients?
Playing God on the next Radio Lab.
Tune in Saturday afternoon at 1 and Sunday afternoon at 2 here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM.
This is listener-supported public radio in Northwest Indiana. 89.1 FM, Lakeshore Public Radio. WLPR FM, Lowell.
And now, your Game Night Scoreboard update.
What's up, Lakeshore Game Night? Steve Schmidt here for the Scoreboard updates throughout the region. Just about all the games are kicking off right about now, so let's see what's going on around the region. First off, the beginning of DAC play tonight, a battle of two 2-0 teams, the Crown Point Bulldogs and the Maryville Pirates. Last week, Crown Point took down Andrean 28-18, and Maryville defeated Hobart 17-7. Maryville sports a 34-20 record all-time over the Bulldogs. A battle of two 1-1 teams tonight in Portage as Lake Central takes on Portage on the road. Last week, Lake Central fell to Providence Catholic on a walk-off safety, and Portage fell to Penn 31-6. This should be an intriguing matchup as Lake Central is ranked 25th in 6A in the Sagarin, and Portage is ranked 28th in 6A. Laporte Slicers were 0-2 on the season, traveling to 1-1 Valpo. Last week, Laporte fell to Lowell 21-14, and Valpo took down Hammond Central 52-0. Valpo holds a 26-14 record all-time over Laporte, including a 56-25 victory last season. 0-2 Michigan City Wolves travel to 1-1 Chesterton tonight. Michigan City lost their game last week 51-33, and Chesterton fell to Warsaw 24-7. Chesterton was victorious last season over Michigan City by a score of 26-8. Another battle of two 1-1 teams tonight is EC Central travels to Munster to take on the Mustangs. Last week, EC Central took down Bowman Academy 26-20, and Munster took down Griffith 34-14. The Mustangs sport a 5-4 record all-time over the Cardinals. 2-0 Elkhart Lions make the trip over to Hammond tonight to take on the Governors, who are 0-2 on the season. Last week, Elkhart take down Northridge 28-7, and Morton fell to Hanover Central 37-0. Elkhart took last year's meeting 47-8, which was the only previous meeting between the two schools. 0-2 Gary Westside travels to 1-1 Highland tonight. Westside last week fell to Calumet 52-16, and Highland took down Whiting in an overtime thriller 12-6. Last meeting was all Trojans back in 2020, 44-20. They also have a 6-2 record all-time over Gary Westside. 0-2 South Bend Clay travel to 1-1 Hammond Central. South Bend Clay last week fell to Twin Lakes 46-8, and Hammond Central was defeated by the Vikings of Valpo 52-0. As mentioned earlier, this is Hammond Central's opening night for their brand new football stadium, a huge night for the Wolves in the school city of Hammond. Battle of two 0-2 teams tonight, so there's going to be a 1-2 team at the end of this night between Boone Grove and South Central. Boone Grove was defeated by River Forest 33-6 last week, where South Central fell to Culver 32-16. Last year, this meeting was all satellites, 47-6. Calumet Warriors are 2-0 on the season, traveling to 0-2 Wheeler. Calumet took down Westside last week 52-16, and Wheeler fell to KV 37-0. Wheeler holds a record of 14-4 all-time over the Warriors. 1-1 Culver Military takes on 2-0 Hanover Central tonight. Culver Military fell to Mishawaka Marion 21-3 last week, and Hanover Central was defeated Morton 37-0. Last season was a very close ball game as Culver Military pulled out a slim 35-34 win, and this game's in the first quarter of action with Hanover Central up 14-0. First score was a 56-yard touchdown pass from Tony Bartolomeo Jr. to Deannon Howes, and Ryan Hildeman with a blocked punt recovery for a touchdown. 1-1 Griffith Panthers traveled 0-2 Hobart Brickies tonight as Griffith fell to Munster last week 34-14, and Hobart lost to Maryville 17-7. The last meeting was all Brickies 72-10 in last year's sectional. 1-1 Lake Station Eagles traveled to 2-0 River Forest Ingots tonight. Last week, Lake Station fell to West Central 44-12, and River Forest took down Boone Grove 33-6. River Forest shut down the Eagles last season 49-0, but the all-time record in the series has been close, with River Forest holding a slim 21-17 advantage. 1-1 KV Cougars travel to South Bend, Washington tonight to take on the Panthers. KV last week dominated Wheeler 37-0, and South Bend Washington lost to Bremen 42-6. KV took the last meeting between Washington by a score of 42-7. New Prairie Cougars 2-0 on the season travel to Lowell, take on the 1-1 Red Devils. New Prairie last week defeated Goshen 33-14, and Lowell took down Laporte 21-14 on the road. New Prairie has won 3 of the 4 meetings, including last year's regional championship game against Lowell by a score of 28-14. Additional games we're keeping up on here tonight on the scoreboard: Calumet Christian at North Judson, Culver Community at Knox, Rensselaer at Hamilton Heights, West Central at Tri-County, which last update in that game was a 24-0 lead for West Central in the second quarter. Stay tuned for all the action, news, and events here tonight on Lakeshore Game Night. I'm Steve Schmidt.
All righty, thank you, Steve. This is an update here. We've got Al Rodriguez from Hanover Central. Al, what's going on out there?
Hey, how are you doing? Oh, we're playing football out here. And we've got an update because Hanover scored again on a 35-yard field goal. But prior to that, Culver was marching down the field and had a touchdown pulled back for a chop block, so they had to kick. Hanover marched down the field, got stalled at about the 20, kicked a 35-yard field goal. Score right now is 16-0 with 11:21 left in the second quarter.
Al, do you know who the kicker was for Hanover Central?
Yeah, Kyle Brower kicked a 35-yard field goal. It was pretty. It's nice to see somebody kick a field goal and make it that distance.
Yeah, 35 yards. That's pretty impressive for a high schooler.
Yeah, can't even throw 3 yards anymore. But to see him kick it that great, that's good.
So, Al, what is Hanover doing to assert their dominance in this game?
You know, right now, Hanover's offense, the quarterback, the Bartholomew, is really slinging the ball pretty good. He's moving up the receivers, but that Gunninhouse, man, he catches everything he throws at him. And their defense has stiffened up. I'm really surprised because when they had that kick, they almost blocked that second kick again for Culver. So they're penetrating their offensive line. So the defense is tough right now.
So would you say that the play by Bartolomeo is really bringing what do we got going on?
Oh, I thought that was a pass coming my way. That's about a 40-yard sling over. It looked pretty.
Did you catch it?
You got to like those passes when they come right at you.
Did you catch it?
You want to reach out and grab it. You know what I mean?
Right. So, Al, would you say that the play by Bartolomeo is really carrying Hanover?
At this point, yeah, because it seems as though Culver is in disarray on defense because of the multiple passing by Hanover. I mean, I don't think they're going to stay that way the whole game, but right now they look in disarray.
All right.
Like I pulled that word out. That sounded good, didn't it?
Give me.
Oh, here comes the rush. They're going to hack. They're going to sack. Almost sacked the quarterback. Almost an interception, but it's failed.
All right, Al. One more time. What's the score update and the time?
Pardon? I didn't hear you.
One more time. What is the score update and the time left?
Score right now is Hanover 16, Culver nothing. There's 10 minutes, 32 seconds left in the second quarter.
All right, thanks, Al.
And it's a beautiful night for football, so if you're there, come on down.
Love to hear it. Thank you, Al.
Hey, take care. Bye.
It is a wonderful day. I tell you what, beautiful weather, already some exciting football games going, and I had a good dinner as well. I want to say thank you to Pepe's on Broadway here for offering the game night crew with some of the best tacos around. Everybody listening should join Pepe's for the second annual Mexican Independence Day Fiesta on Saturday, September 10th from 4 to 10 p.m. There will be an outdoor patio seating, live band, a DJ, and a beer margarita garden, which is it's pretty enticing for a guy like me. And they have really good tacos too. So the owner-operator, Adam, he wishes the Maryville Pirates good luck in the game tonight. Pepe's is located at 260 East 94th Drive, right off of Broadway in Maryville.
Yeah, and we want to also thank NIPSCO for keeping the lights on and being our great sponsor. They have been with us for so very long for this show, for our TV shows. They are outstanding supporters of, public broadcasting. So we want to thank them so much for all they do.
Absolutely. So without their help and without your help as listeners, we can't do this for the kids, and we won't be able to continue to function without everybody's help. So we greatly appreciate everything everybody does for us. So Wayne, it seems like New Prairie or not New Prairie, Hanover is off to a quick start here. Is this another foreshadowing like what happened last year, or do you think this one's more gonna stick?
Well, I certainly don't think that Hanover is looking at a foreshadowing, because last year, remember, they had a nice lead. And Culver came back. They're certainly aware of last year's game.
Sure.
They probably talked about it a little bit this week. And the difference is, I think, that Hanover has experienced this, letdown in the last quarter. And now they've learned, and they've got to learn. If they don't learn, Culver Academy is a good program.
Absolutely.
They're not going to roll over and play dead.
Absolutely. So, Coach, if you're coaching up your team and all of a sudden you're down by multiple scores in the first quarter, what do you try to do to motivate this team to come back?
Well, you got to stick with the plan. If you're talking about first quarter, you don't want to do anything. You don't want to all of a sudden, throw the playbook out the window and change everything. I think you got to stay on point. You've practiced. You've designed a format that you want to run in a number of plays. The time to change it might be at half, where you come in and say, hey, we're close, hopefully. 16 points isn't that bad. So Culver can come back from that.
Sure. It's 2 scores.
Right.
2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions. But I will say this much, that I agree with you. There's a reason we play 4 quarters, right? And you can't necessarily win a game in the first quarter, but you can lose a game in the first quarter.
Yes.
So you really, really don't want to get down 3 scores. That would be a real problem for Culver Academies.
Yeah, and I don't know if Culver is built the same way as they were last year.
Right.
And, getting down 3 scores would really, really be a difficult thing. I'm really surprised. I'm telling you, Ben, this Bartolomeo is outstanding. He's, threw a 56-yard TD pass tonight. He's just stepped in at quarterback when most people, everybody probably in Hanover, thought that he would be a backup quarterback.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive how he's been working so far this year, and he does come from a very successful family lineage and program for itself. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and move on to Ryan Sosnowski. So he's got an update with Crown Point and Maryville. Ryan, what's going on?
Hey, that was a good effort. Sosnowski, though, by the way.
Sosnowski, I apologize.
No, I'm just kidding. But, hey, I just wanted to report that Maryville is leading early on 6-0 with 7 minutes and 38 seconds left in the first quarter. Number 12, Trey Stevens, scored the rushing touchdown, and Maryville could not convert the 2-point conversion early on. So Maryville leads 6-0 with 7:38 left in the first.
So, Ryan, how did Maryville score?
On the rushing touchdown by number 12, Trey Stevens. He ran it in from about the 10-yard line on 3rd and 10.
How was the drive that led into that? Can you explain kind of how they moved up and down the field?
Yeah, so mainly most of the drive, it was a touchback to start. So they start off at the 20-yard line, and then mainly just the rushers. So Justin Marshall had a few carries to move up the field. Trey Stevens, the quarterback, Jalen Thompson, had basically threw it for 1 reception, but mainly rushing. That's been the key so far for Maryville.
How has Maryville's defense looked? Has Crown Point had a possession yet?
This is their first possession, and at about 7 minutes and 30 seconds, they are at the Crown Point's on their 30-yard line.
All
so
right.
I'll look out for that. This possession.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. Looking forward to more updates when things progress there. One more time, can you give us the score and time update, please?
Yep, the score is 6-0 Maryville with 7 minutes and 23 seconds left to go.
All right. Thank you.
In the second quarter or first quarter?
First quarter, sorry.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate your help.
Hey, no problem. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, hey, kickers. We were just talking about kickers.
Yep.
Here we go. Now that there's a point left on the board that Crown Point could take advantage of, so we'll have to see.
There was a rumor going around the studio that Maryville's kicker he's a soccer player. and he was at a tournament, so he may have not been the one who was doing the kicking today.
Yeah, I heard something about that. We'll have to see. It'll be very interesting to see how that develops going forward. All right, let's move on. We've got Jason Hill with an update from East Chicago Central versus Munster. Jason, what's going on?
Good evening, guys. First quarter score update here from Munster. Munster leads this one 8-0 with about 8 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Both teams had possession here already. Chicago's taking a second possession as we speak. Their first possession, they went 3 and out. Most of their drive going backwards. They did eventually get the ball back up to the line of scrimmage before they punted. But then it only took Munster 3 plays. Their triple option on that first drive kind of giving Cardinals a little bit of confusion. AJ Preboy made the right read. Took it pretty much right up the middle, untouched, for a 41-yard touchdown. And capped it off with a 2-point conversion, putting Munster up 8-0. About 8 minutes to go here in the first quarter.
Again, how long was the run for Preboy?
41 yards for Preboy.
41. Thank you.
Showing his speed, too. I know there was a little bit of an article in the Times today, or yesterday, in the paper about him kind of doing it all. That spotlighted a couple of people, and I read that, and it did really kind of talk about what we talked about last week and the week before about how he does really everything on offense and defense for the Mustangs. Something I had seen this year or last from him was that speed. And he really kicked it into fifth gear there at the end, and he had a Cardinal chasing him down, and he pulled away with ease, it looked like. So we'll see.
So, Jason, one quick question for you. How is the line of Munster playing? They run this option offense. Are they just able to overwhelm East Chicago Central, or is it more just a battle there on the trenches?
2 possessions in here. It looks like they're battling. I think the size matchup is about even. East Chicago Central brings in a couple of really big guys. But Munster's got a couple of big ones as well. So, first opening drive, they're battling. We'll see how that goes here. And I know that, after seeing Munster the last week, they can kind of struggle with where to go with the football within those options. So we'll see. It'll be big if that O-line really holds up for them. But East Chicago does have some size here. And we'll see if they can use some of it.
All right, Jason, thank you much. One more time, score update and the time.
8-0 Munster here in the first quarter with about 7 minutes to go.
All right, thank you, Jason. And from Jason, we're going to go right back to Crown Point versus Maryville with Ryan Sosnowski. Did I get that one right this time?
Hey, you're the man. Great job.
I appreciate it. So, Ryan, what's going on?
Hey, so just to follow up here, Maryville recovered a fumble at the Crown Point 30 right when I got off the air with you guys a little bit ago. And then with the ball in the 30, quarterback Jalen Thomas threw a touchdown pass to, number 8, Justin Marshall. Maryville currently leads 12-0. And then just to touch back on Wayne's question, the Crown Point defense, like I said, really seems to be struggling against the rush. And then, like I said, this one was a touchdown pass thrown by Jalen Thomas to Justin Marshall. 1st and 10 at the Crown Point 30 to have a Maryville lead, 12-0.
So, Ryan, it appears that Crown Point is getting hit from both sides here, through the air and on the ground.
Yeah, so definitely that fumble recovery by Maryville really hurt Crown Point a bit. And then, like I said, though, they tried to rush the ball earlier on. Well, I'm sorry. Earlier on in the game, they were rushing the ball, and Crown Point seemed to have difficulty with that. But then Jalen Thomas aired it out and got the touchdown pass thrown. So, yeah, definitely both sides.
All right, Ryan, thank you much. Wayne, do you have anything?
No, I think that right now Maryville looks like they're, kind of dominating play. You can't turn the ball over in a game like this. And it's going to be interesting, Ryan, to see how Crown Point comes back at this particular time. How do they react to adversity?
No, I completely agree. And just to add in, I talked to Coach Cease before the game, and he did say, and we'll see, like I said, we're still at about 6 minutes and 31 seconds left in the first quarter, and Coach Cease did feel very confident with his defense today. So we will see as that goes on. The fumble recovery kind of showed that early.
All right, Ryan, thank you much. One more time for that score.
Yep. Maryville leads 12-0 with 6 minutes and 17 seconds left in the first quarter here at Demery Stadium.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Appreciate your help. Looking forward to hearing more from you.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
All right, we're going to move from Ryan. We're going to go back to Al Rodriguez with an update from Culver and Hanover. Al, what's going on out there?
Hey, how are you doing? Well, things are happening really quick here, but let's go. At first, I thought Culver was going to start to march. They got a yard on their offensive series when Hanover kicked off to them. Then they lost 5 on a rush. Then they lost 5 on a game offside. They can't. Hanover put a good rush on the quarterback on 3rd and long, and Hanover intercepted it. Oh my gosh! And the guy, Rick Hazley, Kyle Hazley, let me get the name right. 48-yard touchdown return on the interception.
Oh wow!
And then they scored the point after, so it's 23-0. Hanover kicked. The kids, I don't know. I should just say a kid because they're all kids to me when you're 7 years old. Anyways, he started to run back on the field, and he fumbled it on the 30-yard line. Hanover recovered. Now they're marching downfield again.
Oh, my goodness.
Ooh, I had to take a breath there. Sorry.
It really looks, Al, it really looks like Hanover is creating turnovers and taking advantage of them.
They sure are. You know, they look strong. They're holding Culver's passing game. But I got to tell you, this one kid, the quarterback from Culver, I like the kid. K. Rodriguez, a great last name. But anyways, he's to a receiver. I had to look him up. I couldn't believe this kid looked like a giant running against a defensive man. Okay? He's 6'5", believe it or not.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm thinking he's 6'5" receiver, and he looks big on the field. And I thought they were going to get something going, but didn't go anywhere. So Hanover's right now on the 10-yard line, ready to score again.
All right, stay with us, Al, and we don't have anybody. Do we have somebody? Okay.
So, Al, one more time, what's the score update? Nope, he's gone. We lost Al. All right, we're going to move from Al. We're going to move on to Gary Graven. Gary, the bastion of information. What do you got?
New Prairie on the board here. Noah Mungia, a 25-yard touchdown run. And, boy, this guy, quick to the left, quick to the right, moving the feet, making guys miss. The extra point was banged in off the upright. It's 7-0 New Prairie with 5:20 to go in the first quarter.
So it seems like the dynamic athletes of New Prairie are starting to flex their muscles a little bit.
Well, and again, as we've talked about in other matchups, that this is difficult for Lowell to be against players of this kind of quickness. This is not the Lowell game, the Lowell style. And he's been able to get to the outside on both ends, on both sides of the ball, and is very difficult to contain. So, again, we know Lowell will make adjustments, but early on here, the incredible quickness of Noah is on display.
Gary, do we know anything about Lowell's defense? Are they banged up, or is it just kind of a matchup situation?
They do have they are down a cornerback this week. Overall, they're pretty well intact. They lost a lot from last year's squad, and sometimes again this is baptism by fire for a lot of these guys. It's going to take a while. We know at Lowell they know how to coach, so that's not the problem. It's just going to take some time to build these guys up because, again, it's just not – Lowell is not as they were 5-10 years ago with the gigantic guys to dominate the line. It's not the same kind of play, and they're having to make a few adjustments on both sides of the ball because of it.
You can't lose a Joey Hewer and expect somebody to all of a sudden come in after Hewer dominated for like 3 years there at Lowell and do the same thing. So Lowell's going to be all right. It's just that right now they played a pretty tough schedule.
Well, they sure have, Wayne. Again, it wasn't just Joey Hewer. Remember, it was Ryan Marks, Johnny Johnson. They had 3 senior running backs last year that contributed. And then this year's bell cow was set to be Malachi James, and he got injured in week 1. So it's it's a difficult position. Obviously, unfortunately we had significant injuries here in week 1 to a number of teams, and again, so next man up. But you got to be able to do something here to make it work in the meantime as you bridge that and you move through.
All right, Gary, thank you for the update. One more time with that score and the time.
New Prairie 7-0 at about the 5-minute mark here in the first quarter. And I think Hanover Central needs to be in the top 10. Don't cuss at me, Wayne. But I think Hanover Central needs to be in the top 10. Remember, this is public radio. Barney, Sesame Street. You can't talk like that.
Well, thank you, Gary. I appreciate it.
Okay.
And Gary gave us a compelling argument that Hanover Central may need to be in the top 10. And speaking of Hanover Central, we have another update from Al Rodriguez from Hanover.
Hey.
Al, what's going on?
Hey, they did score. They had a 7-yard touchdown pass. All right, from Bartolomeo to Jaden Howard. The 7-yard score is 30-0. Second quarter, 2:41 left. Culver March had a run back on a punt. They're on their 45-yard line, so they're starting their drive. We'll see what happens.
What is the score right now, Al?
30-0.
30-0. It's still in the first quarter.
No, second quarter, 2 minutes, 22 seconds left.
Oh.
Still halftime.
Okay. So are they going to have a running clock here now, or is it 35?
I thought you had to be 35 to have a running clock.
35. But it sounds like Hanover's really doing a good job here, so we appreciate it.
They're impressive. To me, simple old guys. They're impressive.
That's always a good thing.
It's tons of fun.
All right, Al, thank you very much. We're looking forward to hearing more from you. All right, so a lot of excitement, a lot of lopsided games at this point so far. So we'll see how that continues and see if it continues to move that direction. But as of right now, we're all going to catch our breath. We're going to take a quick break here on 89.1 FM, The Lakeshore.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, The Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio.
Lakeshore Public Radio is falling short of our fundraising goal to date. Since roughly half of our annual budget comes from local community support, we need your help to get back on track. This is your chance to ensure trusted local journalism continues to thrive in Northwest Indiana. Please visit lakeshorepublicradio.org and pledge your support by making a donation today to help power public radio tomorrow. Thank you.
If you're one of the millions of Americans who are waiting for President Biden's student loan forgiveness program to launch, guess what? Scammers are waiting for you.
I'm calling regarding your student loan.
In order for you to qualify, you must apply within the next 24 hours.
Give me a call back. I would like to discuss
how to spot a loan forgiveness scam. That's on the next All Things Considered from NPR News. Tune in at 4 p.m. for Weekend All Things Considered here on Lakeshore Public Radio, streaming online at lakeshorepublicradio.org.
I listen to Bullseye because I like new and interesting and funny and cool things, and I don't like to do the work to find those things.
I'm Jesse Thorne. This week, I'll talk with the great Bonnie Hunt from Jumanji, Jerry Maguire, The Bonnie Hunt Show, and the new family show, Amber Brown. That's on the next Bullseye from MaximumFun.org and NPR.
Tune in Saturday night at 6 here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, The Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio. And now, the Game Night broadcast team.
All right, this is Ben Kolodzinski back with you, joined by Andrew Johnson and Steve Schmidt, and of course Wayne Spentnoff. We've got an update coming from Chuck DeMoss out there in West Central versus Tri-County. Chuck, what's up?
Yeah, guys, we're here at halftime. West Central is up 36-0 right now on Tri-County.
My God, Chuck, tell us what happened there. Last time it was 24-0.
Yeah, when I talked to you last, Jaden Miller ran another one in from 3 yards out. The extra point was no good, 2-point conversion. Tri-County got the ball back. They turned it over on downs. I think it was the very first play. Aidan White ran it in from 60 yards out. No 2-point conversion was no good again, so that put them at 36, and that's where we stand right now. Aidan White has over 100 yards tonight, I think, on 6 or 7 carries. So he's leading the way for the Trojans right now.
And he has how many touchdowns and how many yards?
I think he just got the one touchdown, but he's got 110 yards on 6 carries, and he's got 3 2-point conversions as well. So he scored 12 points tonight already.
Wow.
All right, Chuck.
Terrell County doesn't even have a first down. I think they're minus negative yards in rushing. They have passed the ball 10 times, have not completed one pass. So it's total domination by West Central tonight. We will be going to a running clock starting the second half, too.
The quarterback for West Central is Jaden Miller.
No, the quarterback is Connor Merlat.
Oh.
The running back is Aidan White.
Aidan White, okay.
Yeah. He's just I think they're both seniors. No, Connor's a junior and Aidan's a senior.
All right, Chuck, thank you. One more time, what is the score?
Score is 36 West Central, Tri-County 0.
All right.
I have a score from Knox, too. Knox is up 16-8 over Culver early in the second quarter. Rensselaer is down 7-0 at halftime with Hamilton Heights.
All right, thank you,
That's
Chuck.
all I have right now.
Appreciate
All right,
the
guys. Give me
update.
a call later after the game.
All right, sounds good. And our phone lines are getting packed right now, so we've got Gary Graven here. Gary, what you got out there?
Back to the Inferno, following that first New Prairie score, Lowell was not able to do anything. They punted back to New Prairie, and just a beautiful drive where you could see the play calling setting up the next play, some beautiful fakes, and it ended up again with a 2-yard touchdown run by Noah Mungia, his second of the night. It's 14-0 New Prairie with 2:35 left in the first quarter.
So, Gary, it sounds like New Prairie is kind of having their way with Lowell right now.
It is the quickness of New Prairie so far in this first quarter. Lowell does not have an answer for.
Well, I tell you, Gary, West Central is up 36-0 over Tri-County. God, I don't know. Maybe we have to put them above High Hanover Central in the poll.
Well, I think if Mr. Arredondo were here, he would actually say the poll might do something like that.
All right, Gary, we appreciate the
Just
update.
an observation. I'm here to spread love.
We appreciate it. So one more time, what's the score update from that game?
It's 14-0 in the last 2 minutes of the first quarter. New Prairie out early, dominating Lowell.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Gary.
You got it, both.
All right, we'll move from Gary here to Ryan Sosnowski. Ryan, what's going on?
Hey, it's nice to hear from the legend Gary Graven over there, who, fun fact, was a top 20 candidate for the Bishop Noel Hall of Fame about a year ago. But to talk back here to fun fact. I'm sure he loves hearing that. So action-packed game here at Demery. To start off, with 3 minutes and 41 seconds left in the first quarter, number 2, J.J. Johnson, throws maybe about a 15-yard pass roughly to number 85, Seamus Molaski, and then they converted on the extra point, which left it the score to be 14-7. And then Maryville responded with a thunderous 70-yard rushing touchdown by number 8, Justin Marshall. So he ran it for about 70 yards, and then the 2-point the 2-point conversion was good on a pass to number 5, Peyton Young, which Maryville leads 20-7 with 2 minutes and 9 seconds left in the first.
All right, Ryan, thank you for the update. Looking forward to hearing more from you.
Hey, no problem. Have a good day, guys.
All right, thank you. So it seems like there was some action going on here. Maryville's looking pretty good.
Yeah, Maryville really is. And, they're playing at home. They're playing well. They're playing confidently. And this Jaden Thomas has played well controlling that offense. So that's a big start. 20-7 Maryville at home over Crown Point.
So the scores are coming in hot and heavy right now. We've got Steve Schmidt with an update.
And now, your game night scoreboard update.
What's up, Lakeshore Game Night? Steve Schmidt here. These scores are rolling in fast and furious in week 3 of the high school football season. Let's see how your favorite team's doing tonight. First off, Crown Point and Maryville. You just heard it there from Ryan. 20-7, Maryville has the lead. This has been a very exciting game to keep up with early on. This is going to be a game to keep our eyes on the rest of the night. Laporte at Valpo, first quarter. Valpo has a 7-0 lead. Travis Davis with a 38-yard touchdown run for the Vikings. EC Central at Munster first quarter. Munster's up in this one 8-0. Calumet at Wheeler at the end of one. Calumet's up 7-0. A Marion Chandler Terrell with a touchdown for the Warriors. Culver Military at Hanover Central second quarter. This one is all Wildcats so far, 30-0. Tony Bartolomeo Jr. with 2 touchdowns through the air, a 56-yard pass to Gannon Howes and a 7-yard pass to Jaden Howard. They've also scored on a Ryan Hildeman scoop and score touchdown on a block punt, a Kyle Browder 35-yard field goal, and a Kyle Hazley 48-yard pick six. Lake Station at River Forest at the end of one. This one's all tied up at 0. KV at South Bend, Washington, halftime score. Cougars have a 28-0 lead. New Prairie at Lowell. You just heard it there from Gary in the first quarter. New Prairie's up 14-0. Noah Mungia with 2 touchdowns on the ground, a 25-yard run and a 2-yard run. Culver Community at Knox. You also heard that one from Chuck. Second quarter, 16-0. The Redskins have the lead. Rensselaer at Hamilton Heights at the half. It's 7-0 Hamilton Heights. And at the half in West Central Tri-County, 36-0. West Central has the advantage. Stay tuned for the rest of the scoreboard updates. I'm Steve Schmidt.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's pretty exciting so far here. I'm a little bit surprised by the Crown Point Maryville score right now. Wayne, what do you think's going on there?
Well, we talked at the pre-show about what's going to be a factor in this matchup, and it was turnovers. Crown Point had a turnover early on. Maryville not only caused a turnover, but they capitalized on it and took it in the end zone. And that momentum right now seems to be in Maryville's favor. It's home at Maryville. Maryville plays well in their stadium, and I do mean stadium.
Right.
And they got some help from a guy named Trey Stevens, who got a score. He moved in from Andrean this year, and everybody was thinking that he was just on the defensive side. It's not. He's a halfback also, and he got an early score. But then the main man, Justin Marshall, he has 2 TDs already for Maryville. So Crown Point's going to have to, as it gets near the half and in halftime, figure out how they can make sure Marshall does not hurt them anymore.
At this point, Maryville is on pace to score well over 40 points. That is something that Crown Point obviously cannot get in a shootout with a team like Maryville. Maryville has the talent and the ability to run away from you, as opposed to Crown Point, who really wants to kind of duke it out with you.
Yeah, and I think that Crown Point needed to, like we talked about earlier, needed to score quickly, be the first one there. That didn't happen. Now we're gonna see what type of a team Crown Point is. Can they bounce back? Can they make it a close game? That's a big factor after being 2-0 in the region and taking over that desirable number 1 spot in the top 10. You got to defend that territory.
Yeah, and for your sake, to make sure that you're putting them as the number 1 ranked team. But in fairness, they have looked really good so far this season, and there's nothing to bash Maryville on, because they've looked really good too. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this game goes. I think that it's going to be exceptionally important for Crown Point to get some points on the board and fast.
Yes.
And we're going to go over to Gary Graven with an update. Gary, how's it going?
Good. Our first report out from Chesterton, a pick six, a 50-yard interception touchdown return by Emmanuel Hodgson, the 6'2 senior for Michigan City. The extra point is good. It's 7-0 City at late in the first quarter.
So a pick six. So it appears there was some errant passes. And do you know who was playing quarterback?
For Chesterton, McCormick.
No, he was.
We were heard through the grapevine that McCormick wasn't playing today. We're not sure if that's the case.
Let me check the source and get back to you guys on that.
Now, who was the person who did the pick six?
Emmanuel Hodgson.
Hodgson, okay.
Hodsgson. A little bit strange there.
Yeah.
All right, Gary, we appreciate the update. We're looking forward to more updates from you.
You got it.
All right, thanks, Gary. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take a break here on 89.1 FM, The Lakeshore.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, The Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio.
Think for a moment about all the ways Lakeshore Public Radio keeps you informed. You hear local, national, and international news throughout the day. You also hear deep dives into music, culture, art, science, and everything else that makes our lives richer. None of this happens without listener support, and it's why your contribution is so important. Please donate now at lakeshorepublicradio.org or call 877-910-8989.
Indie rock singer Ezra Furman says she was debilitatingly shy in high school, except when she played music.
The stage is like medicine for me. You know, I couldn't ever say where I was at to a person in conversation.
Talk with her about her past, present, and her new album, All of Us in Flames, Saturday and Weekend Edition from NPR.
Tune in at 7 a.m. for Weekend Edition here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM, and streaming online at lakeshorepublicradio.org.
What makes something cool or not? One culture writer says status is the answer.
Rugby shirts are a timeless item. Football jerseys aren't. You know, so these things aren't accidental. They do really map to power and hierarchy and things like that.
But we can redefine cool and maybe shake up old power structures along the way. Find out how next time on It's Been a Minute from NPR.
Tune in Saturday morning at 9 and Sunday afternoon at 3 here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, The Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio. And now, the Game Night broadcast team.
All right, Ben Kolodzinski back here with Wayne Sventnoff. Wayne, it's we're getting into some action here, and there's been a lot of interesting dynamics that we're seeing developing here in some of these games.
Yeah, looking at the scoreboard, Kankakee Valley 28-0 over South Bend, Washington. Right. After the first week in the season, not playing as well as they wanted, it looks like they're starting to buy into Coach Kennedy and his philosophy over there at KV.
It seems like things are clicking, right? They're finding their groove, right? And that is a circumstance where a well-established and successful coach like Kennedy, he knows what he's doing. The proof is out there. You just got to listen. You got to buy in, and it looks like they're having some fun down there.
Yeah, and I really would like to. I know at this point we don't have a correspondent out at Portage, but that Lake Central Portage game, that is going to be an intriguing one. I don't know if anybody's scored yet, but both of those teams are 1-1, and Lake Central needs to get their program going, and so does Portage, and I think that this could be a good game for them.
Oftentimes, some of the best games are two teams that are looking to get that breakthrough moment.
Right.
And this is what is going on right now with Lake Central and Portage. Both these teams, they have the talent, they have the ability to kind of battle with some of these top teams in the DAC, but they're not there yet. And when you get these two teams, and I don't want to say desperate because we're still way early in the season, but there's definitely a circumstance where these teams need to have a bit of a breakthrough. So, and we've got an update here. We've got Ryan Sosnowski from Crown Point, Maryville. Ryan, what's going on out there?
Man, what a game here in Maryville. So to start off, towards the end of the first, J.J. Johnson threw a pass to Caden Smith, who gained about 15 yards. Then J.J. Johnson and number 5, Elijah Taiwan, rushed it for a little bit. And then to start this, time expired, and then at the start of the second here, J.J. Johnson actually rushed it in for a touchdown with a little dive at the end to make it look nice, and the extra point's good. Therefore, Maryville leads Crown Point 20-14 with 11 minutes and 53 seconds left in the second half. Second quarter.
Ryan, what have you seen from Crown Point to kind of bring the momentum back their direction?
So just the pass. It seems when they're going down the field and they're passing the ball, they're looking great. So it seems like now they're kind of finding their niche. A lot of their scores were set up passing the ball down the field, and Maryville, like I said, is going to have to answer that.
Ryan, has Crown Point been able to do anything with the option other than that one score?
Probably, I would say every time Crown Point has had a possession, there's definitely been an option with J.J. Johnson. I mean, you had to score at the end, as you just mentioned. A couple plays before that, he had the option again. And then, like I said, the previous quarter, he had a couple rushing attempts as well. He ran the option as well. So it's definitely being utilized a little bit. More so what I noticed was he won't do that in, like, the first down, but as they get, second, third down, you'll start to see the option a little bit more.
So as Crown Point moves in, how much time left in the second quarter?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again? You broke up at the beginning 2/3 of your question.
Okay, so how much time left before half?
11 minutes and 27 seconds and counting.
So there's still a lot of time for them right now to be able to adjust a little bit. Crown Point is going to have to get some spark, and hopefully their defense can cause a turnover a little bit.
Yeah, that would be the big thing. But even just now, Jalen Thompson threw about a 10-yard pass. And then number 11 for Maryville, John Peters, ran it about for an extra 4 yards. So, yeah, definitely the defense would be key because it just seems that Crown Point has not been able to stop Maryville on offense.
All right, Ryan. Thank you for the update. One more time, what is this time and score?
Maryville currently has the ball with a 20-14 lead with 10 minutes and 38 seconds and counting left in the second quarter.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. Looking forward to hearing more from you.
Hey, no problem. Thank you, guys.
So we've got Gary Graben here on line 2. Gary, what's going on?
A lot of info for you here. First, we'll go back to Route 2 to the Inferno. Owen Chalik, the kicker for New Prairie, a 26-yard field goal on the first play of the second quarter. It's 17-0 New Prairie with about 11 minutes to go in the first half. And then back to Chesterton, Sebastian Boswell is at quarterback. The underground out there does not know why Brady McCormick is not in, but Boswell connected with Bryce Toma, who's had a couple of scores this year already on a 30-yard touchdown pass. The extra point was missed, so it is Michigan City 7, Chesterton 6, with 11 minutes to go in the first half at Chesterton.
Ryan, Gary, thank you so much for the updates. Looking forward to hearing more from you.
Sounds good. Actually, really quickly, Sebastian Boswell was the quarterback expected to be the starting quarterback this year. Brady McCormick started the first couple of games. Again, we'll keep working to figure out what the situation is.
Greatly appreciated. Thanks, Gary.
Yes, sir.
We'll go from Gary to Jason Hill. Jason has an update from East Chicago Central versus Munster. Jason, what's up?
Hey guys, second quarter score update for you. 14-0 Munster leads Chicago. After a pretty long drive by the Mustang and a penalty that kind of stalled them right inside the 10 for a minute, AJ Freeboy was able to take one in from about 2 yards for his second touchdown of the night. 2-point conversion failed, and here we stand, 14-0 Munster over East Chicago.
East Chicago doesn't seem to have much of a defense for the option. Is that what it looks like?
Definitely some confusion there for the Cardinals with that option offense. I will say here in the second quarter we've seen some life from the East Chicago Cardinals here, picking off a pass. It was Vi's pass, I would imagine, there for the Mustangs by AJ Freeboy. That was Timothy Flora for the Cardinals. Picked it off, no return, but then shortly after that, quarterback here for the Cardinals, kind of look at his name for you here, but he's got a couple of really nice runs as they're looking to pass, drop back, realizing that's not a Munster defender was inside. He took off, and he's got one nice solid position, looked like from here about 20 yards. So he's got this East Chicago offense moving now as they get across the field. So we'll see if they can do something with this opportunity.
Jason, after a big win last week for Munster, and now they're up 14-0 against East Chicago. How is the crowd? Is it a pretty nice crowd out there?
I'd say it's a pretty nice crowd. It is Pop Warner night here for Munster. We have all of the Pop Warner football players, their families, and the cheerleaders. We have the cheerleaders out here cheering with the high school cheerleaders, and then the little boys are gonna run across the field for the first time in front of the Friday Night Lights. So nice little festivities. Crowd is pretty nice here. They got the band going. We saw them warming up here before the game. Looks like we're in store for a pretty nice halftime.
All right, Jason, one more time. What's the score and time update?
14-0 with about 7.5 to go here in the first half. Munster leads Chicago.
All right, thanks, Jason. So, Wayne, we've seen a couple of dynamics that are coming to fruition here. We've already talked about kickers. We've seen Chesterton miss an extra point, so now they're down by 1 point in that tight ball game. We've seen New Prairie hit a field goal, and we've seen Maryville struggle with some extra points. So that's coming to fruition, and this is a situation where we need to make sure you're keeping those points.
Yeah, and this is the time of year where, the consistency for the kicking game needs to start to, come into effect. And they, in the early part of the season where the weather is nice, you can make that adjustment, but you need to get that fixed very quickly because, again, as we said earlier, kickers make a difference as the weather changes.
That is true. And speaking of a game where we've seen some kicks being missed, we've got Ryan Sosnowski here with an update from Crown Point versus Maryville. Ryan, what's up?
All I can say is what a game here at the beautiful Demery Stadium. So 3rd and 4, Jalen Thomas throws about a 42-yard touchdown with 9 minutes and 50 seconds left in the second quarter to number 2, Philip Roche. And he completed, which took the lead from to 26-14 Maryville. And then Justin Marshall rushes the 2-point conversion in. So Maryville currently has the lead 28-14 with 9 minutes and 43 seconds left in the second quarter. And I just want to add in, Maryville's really been trying to make a statement today. All 2-point conversions haven't attempted to kick the extra point once. And like I said, that's my fun fact on this call.
Well, thanks for a fun fact, Ryan. But at this point, Maryville looks like they are kind of dominating Crown Point. And you don't want to get down 28-7 in the first half.
I'm sorry, 28-14.
Yeah, 14.
14. Oh, okay.
So how did Crown Point score their second touchdown, Ryan?
That was the one where J.J. Johnson rushed it in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And J.J. Johnson is looking very good at quarterback at Crown Point, by the way.
Yeah, he's a very talented player for Crown Point. My question for you, Ryan, is the Maryville defense just standing up and taking care of the offense for Crown Point, or how is it? Or is the Maryville offense just that good and just running out to this big lead?
I'll tell you, Maryville's defense is giving every ounce they have, but J.J. Johnson is just looking so disciplined at the quarterback position. He just seems to be performing every single down, and being productive. I really haven't seen a big mistake by J.J. Johnson yet. So, that's kudos to the offense for Crown Point. And then Maryville's offense has just been explosive so far. It just seems like every time they've had possession, they've scored. Whether it's passing, Jalen Thompson's really looking good, replacing Angel Sanchez from last year. Angel Nelson,
right. Then those are big shoes to fill. He's come in, and Angel Nelson was on time. Every pass, he found the open area of the field, and that's why this offense relies upon a very steady quarterback. And the quarterback obviously is someone who has the ball in their hand literally every single play. And his performance today is really showing on both sides. Both quarterbacks are looking good.
Yeah, and I would like to mention the last two games versus Drain and Hobart. The rush has been the main option for Maryville. Justin Marshall's been looking phenomenal the last two games. But Jalen Thomas at 6'5", he's got a lot of potential this year. He passes the eye test 100% for Maryville, and he's playing his heart out today.
Is Thomas a junior or senior?
Jalen Thomas is a senior this year.
Okay. All right, Ryan, one more time. What is the score and time update?
The score is currently 28-14. Crown Point has the ball with 7 minutes and 50 seconds left in counting in the second quarter.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate the update.
Hey, no problem. Goodbye.
All right, we're going to go from Ryan to Gary Graven. He's got an update with Chesterton versus Michigan City. Gary, what's going on?
Yeah, Sebastian Boswell certainly playing like he deserves the job. A 60-yard touchdown pass to Ethan Tron. Extra point is good. 13-7. Chesterton with 7:12 left in the first half.
So it seems like Chesterton's found a little bit of rhythm here.
It sure does. And again, as we'll look forward into this, Sebastian Boswell, and who knows, maybe he was not ready to go these first 2 weeks. Maybe there was an injury we didn't know about, and maybe he all along was going to be the starter, because he certainly looks good here out of the gate here. So 2 touchdown passes here in the first half for Boswell, and a 13-7 lead for Chesterton. And this one sort of has the feel that it might go down to the wire.
They've always said that it's good to have a lot of talent on your team. You want your backups to be pushing your starters, and it's a blessing and a curse to have 2 talented quarterbacks.
Well, it is, and we're talking about one's a sophomore and one's a junior. So they'll both be back next year.
Right.
Pretty impressive. And, we thought Brady McCormick, the son of Wally McCormick, who's the offensive coordinator at Chesterton. So there's sort of a stable of riches there in the quarterback position over the next few years.
What year is McCormick?
McCormick's a sophomore.
Okay, so Boswell's the junior.
That's correct. And Ethan Troy, who caught the pass, a senior. So, again, 2 back-to-back scores here for Chesterton to take the lead at home against Michigan City.
All right, Gary, thank you for the update. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All righty. So, Wayne, it seems like Chesterton has found a rhythm here with a backup in Boswell. So it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic goes throughout the rest of the day. But speaking of that, since I am having trouble speaking, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a break here on 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio.
Hi, I'm Michael Gallenberger at Lakeshore Public Radio, and I'm so excited about everything going on here at the station, from the awards coming our way to the new programs we've lined up for you, to the signal expansion and more. We're committed to serving Northwest Indiana with trusted quality programming, but we can't do it without you. Your financial support is what powers Lakeshore Public Radio, so be powerful, help make a difference. Donate today at lakeshorepublicradio.org.
You think it's behind you. You've come so far, done so much. You think you'll never see them again. But turn around, and there they are. On the next Snap Judgment, the wedding guest. Snap Judgment. Do not miss it.
Saturday at 11 and Sunday at noon here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM.
We went out to dinner with friends. He would say, to my utter humiliation, "You never touch Mercia's food. You can train husbands, but occasionally they slip the leash and run amok."
Join us for stories all about adventures into the unfamiliar. That's next time on the Moth Radio Hour from PRX.
Tune in Saturday at noon and Sunday at 1 here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM.
You're listening to 89.1 FM, Lakeshore Public Radio, listener-supported public radio in Northwest Indiana, WLPR FM Lowell.
And now, your Game Night scoreboard update.
What's up, Lakeshore Game Night? Steve Schmidt here. These scores are rolling in fast and furious here in Week 3 of the high school football season. Let's see what's going on around the region. Here in the opening week of Duneland play, all 4 of these games are living up to the expectation. Starting off with Crown Point and Maryville, you've heard it all night from Ryan. Second quarter, Maryville's up 28-14. Jalen Thomas has a couple touchdowns through the air tonight for the Pirates. And in return, J.J. Johnson, the quarterback for the Bulldogs, has a couple touchdowns himself. Lake Central at Portage, first quarter. Portage is up 6-3. Their score on the ground was a 33-yard touchdown run by Colton Wilkie. Laporte at Valpo, second quarter. Valpo has a 14-3 lead. They got the scoring started on a 38-yard touchdown run by Travis Davis. Laporte then countered with a 36-yard field goal by Jack Doty. And then Justin Clark hit a 38-yard touchdown pass to Keegan, or actually a 38-yard pass to Keegan Bradley, but it didn't stop there. He fumbled at the 1-yard line, but Julian Stokes fell on it for a touchdown for the Vikings to make it 14-3. Michigan City at Chesterton, you've heard it from Gary, second quarter. Chesterton has taken the lead 13-7, but it was Michigan City early, taking a 7-0 lead on Emmanuel Hodgson 65-yard pick-six touchdown. But then Chesterton countered with a pair of touchdown passes by Boswell, a 48-yard touchdown pass to Toma, and a 70-yarder to Troy. EC Central at Munster, second quarter. Munster has a 14-0 lead. Elkhart at Morton. This one's all Elkhart 21-0 in the second quarter. Still awaiting an update for the West Side at Highland game. Moving on to South Bend Clay and Hammond Central. First game for Hammond Central on their new football stadium. End of one. The Wolves have a 27-0 lead. Speaking of the Wolves, the Boone Grove Wolves taking on South Central at the end of one. Boone Grove has a 7-0 lead. Calumet at Wheeler, second quarter. Calumet has a 14-0 lead. First score for the Warriors was an Marion Chandler Terrell touchdown and Terrell Caldwell with a touchdown reception. Culver Military at Hanover, halftime. It's all Wildcats, 30-0. Tony Bartolomeo Jr., 2 touchdowns through the air, a 56-yarder to Gannon House, and a 7-yarder to Jalen Howard. Also waiting update for Griffith at Hobart. Lake Station at River Forest, second quarter. It's Ingots 14, Eagles nothing. Aidan Silver with 2 touchdowns for the Ingots, a 20-yard pass to Jeremiah Standstill, and a 14-yard run for Silver. KV at South Bend, Washington, halftime score. The Cougars have a 28-0 lead. New Prairie's up over Lowell, 17-0 in the second. Last update for Culver Community at Knox was in the second quarter. Knox has a 16-0 lead. Third quarter of action for Rensselaer at Hamilton Heights. It's 14-0 Hamilton Heights. And last update at the half for West Central and Tri-County was 36-0 West Central. Ben, back to you.
All right, thank you, Steve. Appreciate the updates. And Steve, we're going to have you stay here for this segment, and we're going to chat up. And you've had your eyes peeled on these scores all day. What game is standing out to you as kind of a shocker?
Well, you know, obviously it's easy to go to the back. Opening week, you check out, you have 4 incredible ball games. You know, looking into it, you have Crown Point and Maryville. That's obviously the marquee game. But you look at what could be considered as the quote-unquote secondary games of the week, right? Where you have Lake Central and Portage. That game is a good one. Like I mentioned earlier tonight, because I look at the Sagarin rating a lot. I know early in the season, a lot of people, you're not supposed to look at it because you don't really necessarily know what the teams are capable of in week 3 and 4, or up until weeks 3 and 4. But when you see a Lake Central team ranked 25th and Portage ranked 28th, that's got to be a good ball game. And it's showing early 6-3 Portage.
Yeah, 2 teams pretty evenly matched there. And do we know how the 6 was scored? Was it 2 field goals or was it a touchdown?
For Portage, it was a 33-yard run by Colton Wilkie.
Okay. And the extra point, no good. The point after. So it's really interesting to see these teams, like we had mentioned earlier, teams that are in a need of making sure that someone gets a victory, and someone's going to have to, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go back to Ryan Sosnowski for Crown Point and Maryville. Ryan, what's going on out there?
Man, I just can't tell you how great of a game this is. You know, for all my English literature fans, this is like reading Beowulf. It just keeps getting better and better. I was Grendel. I was Grendel's mother. Then the dragon just keeps getting better and better. So, number 2, J.J. Johnson throws roughly about a 15-yard pass to number 85, Seamus Molaski, on a 3rd and 11. And, it was Johnson and Molaski for the first score. Then, Johnson ran it in for the option. And then to Molaski again for the 3rd score. And then on the drive, you know what? JJ's just looking real good. You know, he ran the option 3 times, and each time he gained about 5 yards, every time he ran the option. So currently it's Maryville 28 to Crown Point 21 with 3 minutes, 45 seconds left in the first half.
I tell you what, Ryan, you've got a Sosnowski, I'm a Kolodzinski, now you've got a Molaski thrown in there. There's a lot of ski representation going on tonight.
Hey, there is. I think we're making our ancestors in Poland very proud today.
Absolutely. We're very handsome folks, so I'm sure that's the case, that continuing. But Ryan, what would you say is Crown Point? They seem to be chipping back at this. What is Crown Point doing differently?
So it definitely seems like, they would, earlier on in the game, they were handing it off to number 5, Elijah Teowan. Now, JJ just seems to be taking control of it. He's running it in. He's trying to make a statement here. Like I said, this game is just like the perfect epic poem, for all my English fans. JJ wants to be the hero. He wants to make his community proud. And the game's Crown Point's offense really revolves around him.
All right, Ryan, one more time. What is the score and time update?
The score is currently, with Maryville's ball, Maryville leads 28-21 with 3 minutes and 21 seconds and counting left in the second quarter.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Give us an update at halftime.
Hey, will do. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So we've got a bit of a game going on there in Maryville. What is surprising me about this game is the fact that there are so many points being scored. And essentially what they've done is the high-powered offense of Maryville has kind of punched Crown Point in the mouth early in this game. And now JJ is going to try to be that alpha. He's trying to will Crown Point back into this game. 2 touchdown passes to Mulaski. That's a really good feat, and they're only down by 1 score. Now, Maryville has the ball, and they're driving, but if the defense can come up and maybe get a stop, this could be a whole new ball game at halftime.
Yeah, when you got 2 dueling quarterbacks going back and forth, what better football would you want to see? I personally, I like defense, but when you have 2 good quarterbacks dueling back and forth, I mean, that's just special football.
It's pretty exciting, right? I mean, look at when Peyton Manning and Tom Brady would meet up. That was always must-see TV and some of the more entertaining things. Now, like you said, I am more of a defensive style, at least at this level. But at this point, the offenses seem to be wearing the defenses out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments that both teams are going to make, specifically the defensive coordinators, to see what they're going to make going into that second half to see the limit of scoring. What do you think, Ben? Do you think that they're going to be a lot of points in that second half, or do you think that the offenses are going to be tired to put their hot start?
I think that the defenses are going to continue to wear out, and this is why. The defense is always putting on their best effort, because one small mistake on defense and you just gave up points. And so oftentimes those defenses just keep getting fatigued, and there's a lot of hitting going on in this game. There's a lot of running up and down the field, apparently. So I think it's going to continue to be more and more offense. With that being said, mistakes are going to happen on offenses. When you run this many plays, there's going to be circumstances where Crown Point already fumbled earlier in this game. It led to Maryville points. That is the difference in the game right now. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm looking forward to see how this one fleshes out. So, all right, we've got Tim Hogan online here. Tim's got an update from Calumet versus Wheeler. Tim, what's going on out there?
Right now, we just went to halftime. It is the Calumet Warriors 20, the Wheeler Bearcats 0. Calumet struck first in the first quarter. Marion Chandler Terrell with a 14-yard touchdown run to put the Warriors up 7-0. In the second quarter, Terrell Caldwell caught a touchdown pass from Andrew Markham, a 40-yard touchdown pass to go up 14-0. And right here, the killer right now, with about 15 seconds left in the half, Chandler Terrell caught a 3-yard touchdown pass. The extra point was no good, and so we have a halftime score for 20-0.
So, Tim, you've got your eyes out there. What is Calumet doing to just dismantle Wheeler right now?
Well, right now, first of all, both defenses, I know Wheeler's given up 20 points, but their defense hasn't played half bad. They have some, as you know, they have some athletes on the wing.
Right.
And when they throw that ball up, they can go get it. But on our side of the ball, I did not talk to Coach Kanya. We did not start our quarterback tonight. We started Caden Brand at running back, and they are running the Wildcat.
Oh, wow.
And unfortunately, it's not producing very well. I don't know what changes he's going to make at halftime. But right now, the defense, they're throwing 10 guys in the box, and it's just impossible to block.
So Wheeler's running the Wildcat right now. Is that right?
That is correct.
So they're banking on the fact that they're getting an extra blocker by not having a quarterback, but it's making them one-dimensional. Is Calumet kind of teeing off on that, you think?
Yes, like I said, they put 10 guys in the box, and their corners are super quick. It's extremely hard to get outside. And when Aidan Brand has broke a couple for 5, 6, 7 yards, when it looks like it's going to be about a 20-yard run, their quickness closes all those gaps so quickly that hole just disappears. He's probably got 20 to 25 carries already, but I'll bet you he doesn't have 50 yards.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thanks, Tim. One more time, what is the score here at halftime?
At halftime, it's the Calumet Warriors 20, the Wheeler Bearcats 0.
All right. Thanks, Tim. Looking forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you.
So we've got 20 to nothing here at half. Wheeler is not playing a quarterback and they're running the Wildcat. That's definitely a circumstance where you're making yourself one-dimensional.
Yeah, looking at the way that they played KV last week, and obviously I looked at that box score a little closer. I did the other games last week. They had to change up their offense, speaking of Wheeler. They didn't have a single first down at all last week.
Yeah.
So this could be just a way of them just trying something new. Say, hey, let's give it a try and see what happens.
And unfortunately for Wheeler's sake right now, it does not appear to be working, but there's still 2 quarters left in that game. And, they're down 3 scores, but if something starts to click, you never know what can happen. So speaking of offenses clicking, we've got Al Rodriguez with a update from Hanover Central. Al, what's going on out there?
Hey, it's a beautiful night, but Culver came out, Hanover punted, and they went 4 and out, kicked to Hanover. Hanover, for some reason, let the ball roll all the way to the 20, but they did march down to the end zone with this Kyle Hazley left, Kyle Hazley right. They just kept running the ball, opposite of what they did in the first half where they were throwing. So he scored on a 14-yard TD, on a 14-yard run. Score right now with the point after is 37-0. 4:52 left in the third quarter.
37-0. So we're at the running clock phase right now.
We are at the running clock, and I'm going to go running after it, see if I can get it. However, I would be remiss if I didn't say, tonight was the inaugural night for Hanover. We've got a turf field. It's a beautiful field. It's turf out here now.
Yeah. Can you tell us about that turf and what that's going to mean for the program?
Well, apparently I've been told it's going to be a money saver in the long run. It's less maintenance on the field. But I mean, to look at it, it's beautiful. All right. Either end, it's got the blue Hanover colors, big HC in the middle. You can see the field clearly for the markers. What I'm looking forward to is when the weather comes in and changes and we start getting the rain and the snow,
right.
See how the players react to it.
Now, Al, I had the fortunate privilege to cover games at Hanover, and it was after a torrential rainstorm, and I had water up into my ankles on that field. So I think that if any program really needs that turf field, I think it is Hanover. It's really going to suit their team.
I think it's going to be fantastic. Oh, I had a little bit of trivia for you guys.
Oh, what you got?
I got graduates or attendees from Culver. Can't say 100% graduate. A guy named George Steinbrenner.
Oh, wow.
And a singer, I don't know if you've heard of him, Dirk Bentley.
Oh,
they all went there.
Really? I've actually met Dirk
that would be a
Bentley.
point of interest.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. So thank you, Al. We appreciate it. If you could please give us one more time the update and the time.
All right. Right now, the score is Hanover 37, Culver 0, 340 left on a running clock in the third quarter.
All right. Thanks, Al. Looking forward to hearing from you. All right. So Hanover's taking care of business. So that's pretty exciting. Moving on from one lopsided game to a game that's a little bit closer, Ryan Sosnowski has an update from Crown Point and Maryville. Ryan, what's going on?
All right. If there's one movie quote now, I mentioned Beowulf last time for Wayne. I heard he was an English teacher, as am I. I'm going to quote a movie here. Marshall, we are Marshall. We are Marshall.
There you go.
And I'm talking about the 2006, sports drama, We Are Marshall here, starring Matthew McConaughey. Basically, all Justin Marshall here. He ran it in. He was basically how the drive kind of went. He rushed for 20 yards. Then Jalen Thomas, he ran the option for another 10 yards and then a flag, 10-yard penalty. Then he runs it in on basically second and third for the rushing touchdown here. And then he tries to rush it in for the 2-point conversion, falls a bit short at the 1-yard line. Ultimately a flag, but besides the rush, making it no good, the flag as well for holding on the offense. But like I said, this drive, Just Marshall, score 34, Maryville to Crown Point 21 with 1 minute and 11 seconds left in the second quarter.
So 34-21. It seems like Maryville is keeping Crown Point at an arm's distance. Even though Crown Point is coming back at them, it seems like Maryville's got this under control. What would you say?
Oh, I agree. The offense, like I said, Maryville's offense, Crown Point just does not seem to have an answer. I'm excited to see what J.J. Johnson does here for Crown Point with 1 minute and 11 seconds left. But like I said, Maryville's offense is big. This is just an offensive game. You know what I mean? Both teams are playing their hearts out here in week 3.
All right, Ryan. So do us a favor. Give us a call at halftime.
Hey, will do.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. So this game is pretty exciting. We're in a position where we're going to have an update here shortly. But before we get that update, we're going to take a quick break here on 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio.
At Lakeshore Public Radio, our job is to bring you vital news and information while breaking down what it means internationally, nationally, and here at home. This deep dive journalism has disappeared from many newspapers and other outlets. With your help, we're doing everything we can to fill the void. It's the support and generosity of listeners like you that make the independence and integrity possible. Please do your part and make a donation today at lakeshorepublicradio.org. Thank you.
Tracking down a shadow workforce.
How long has it been operating? About how many people go through the programs every year? Can you walk me through what a day in the program looks like?
That puts rehab participants to work without pay.
10 hours a day.
If God forbid it rains, because every day you miss for rain, you lose a Sunday.
An update on our serialized investigation, American Rehab, on the next Reveal.
Tune in Saturday afternoon at 2 and Sunday morning at 9 here on Lakeshore Public Radio.
What's it like to look someone in the eyes and decide, do they live or do they die?
Too many patients.
We're running out of oxygen.
You're going to murder my father?
No, she can't have oxygen. Turn it off. How could you possibly think that that's a good idea?
Did you murder those patients?
Playing God on the next Radio Lab.
Tune in Saturday afternoon at 1 and Sunday afternoon at 2 here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio. And now, the Game Night broadcast team.
All right, we are back. And the night's moving along really well right now, Steve.
Yeah,
what surprises you so far?
Well, we were talking a little bit beginning of last segment about just the way that the DAC's been going on so far. Obviously, the hype surrounding it, week 1 of the DAC. I like to call it the second opening week of the year. But, Laporte and Valpo has been a good game, 21-3. This game's at the half now. But the Michigan City-Chesterton games really caught my eye. Michigan City gets out to a good start, 7-0 lead. But now Chesterton, last update I had was 13 unanswered points going toward the half. So with a backup quarterback, no less. So that's something interesting to keep my eye on, I think.
Yeah, and when you say backup quarterback, I think Gary Graveman had said that this quarterback now, Boswell, might have been scheduled to actually start.
Oh, really?
And McCormick kind of filled in or won the job at the last minute. But boy, Boswell's hit a couple of nice touchdown passes.
Yeah, we heard his name a lot last season, too, in the offense for Chesterton. So it's good to see him contributing right now this week.
All right, we have, Al is back with us. Al Rodriguez. How you doing, buddy? What's up out there?
It's a beautiful night for football. Yeah, Hanover scored again. They took a 43-yard run by Dylan Bauer. He got to the 1-yard line and got tackled. I thought he was going to make it. And then Kyle Hazlett put it in for 1-yard touchdown run. So the score right now is 44-0 with a running clock. We're just getting ready to start the fourth quarter.
Hanover has dominated this game, Al.
I'm impressed and I'm in shock because I know the last couple of years when Hanover had like an unbeaten season going, they went out to Culver and got beat. I think that happened 2 years in a row. Culver pounded them and really humbled them down. And now I think the tables have turned a bit, and Hanover is really coming out after them. Just intercepted by Hanover. Oh, here he goes. Here he goes. He could be gone. Oh, all the way to the 35-yard line. Hanover.
Who intercepted it? Who was the kid?
Who intercepted? I missed it. 17. Who's 17 there? Pardon? Katie Verrat.
All right.
Intercepted that ball.
All right.
On the march again. But it's impressive. They look so good. And when they came out running in the third quarter, I think they threw off Culver because Culver was expecting pass, and they just pounded it up the gut.
Wow.
And now we are 44-0 and getting ready to score again.
Fantastic, Al. All right, give us the time and score at this point.
Right now, the score is 44, Hanover 44, Culver nothing. We are starting the fourth quarter with a running clock.
All right. Thank you, Al. And call back when we have anything else.
All right, take care.
All right, let's go out to Chuck DeMoss. And Chuck is with West Central Tri-County. And how's that one going, Chuck?
Yeah, we come to a final here, Wayne. West Central ends up winning 44-0 tonight on Aidan White. He carried the ball 6 times tonight for 156 yards and 2 scores. He led the Trojans. They rushed for 340 yards tonight on 38 carries.
Wow, that is outstanding. And boy, I've been impressed with West Central. I don't know if it was because they struggled the last couple of years and now all of a sudden they're coming into their own. This Aidan White is certainly shown that he is an outstanding back for West Central.
Yeah, last year their quarterback, Connor Merlack, he got hurt on the very first play of the season last year. Didn't get to play at all, so that really hurt West Central. I tell you what, these guys have rallied up behind him this year, and they look fantastic. They've had 10 guys run the ball this year, 7 guys catch balls this year. I mean, it's just a total team effort for West Central this year.
That is fantastic. And, boy, I know you are happy. Don't you have some relatives that are playing?
Yeah, my brother's grandson is the quarterback, and I have my sister's grandson is on the team this year, too, as one of the running backs. It's his first year of playing. He's been a wrestler for all these years, so he's doing wrestling and football this year, so he's doing double duty, and he's doing a good job out on the football field.
That's fantastic. Now, will you follow then West Central next week?
I think I may be going to North Judson. West Central goes to Culver, and I think Judson has a really good, tough game next week, if I remember right. That's
Good.
Probably where I'm going to go.
That'd be great because we do. Judson is in our little 5, and
exactly.
Yeah. I think that would be a perfect thing to do, to go to Judson and get the feel and the atmosphere of the Judson.
Yeah, they're rated too. I think 4th or 5th in both polls, so it'll be a big night over Judson next week, I'm sure.
Fantastic. All right, Chuck, thanks a lot. Have a good long weekend, a restful one for you, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. All right, Ryan Sosnowski. Ryan, are you there?
Yep, I'm here, guys.
All right, Ryan is at Maryville, where Crown Point and Maryville are tangling, and what's the update?
All right, so we're at halftime now. Maryville leads 34-21, and I just wanted to give a brief recap here for Crown Point scoring. The extra point was good in all possessions here. Seamus Molaski has 2 receiving touchdowns. J.J. Johnson has 1 rushing touchdown off the option. And as I said, extra point is good for Crown Point's 21 points. And then for your home team, Justin Marshall has 2 rushing touchdowns and 1 receiving touchdown with a 2-point conversion. Trey Stevens has a rushing touchdown for Maryville. And then Philip Roche has one receiving touchdown.
Well, it's nice to see Roche back. Now, I know he's a defensive safety, and I think colleges are looking at him defensively, but he also plays offense. So, that's the bode well for the Pirates.
No, I completely agree. Every school that's visited Maryville High School, has just absolutely loved Roche. And the best thing about about this athlete is he's just a phenomenal person as well. We definitely can't stray away from the character here, even though the guy is just an athlete.
Okay, so Crown Point now has 21 points on the board.
Correct.
Is the momentum shifting a little bit towards Crown Point, or has Maryville been able to thwart that, shift?
It's back and forth. Maryville scores. Crown Point responds. Maryville scores again. Crown Point responds. It's just back and forth. Like I said, now Maryville early on, got a couple scores ahead here. That's why they had the 13-point lead. But it is just back and forth. For all the listeners, at home listening to this game, I hope I'm doing it justice because this is just a phenomenal game to watch.
Well, I think you're doing it justice. That's fantastic, buddy. And
I appreciate that from one English major to another, by the way.
Yeah, you're right, buddy. All right. But, I really think that at this point, if Crown Point doesn't turn the ball over, the game could be closer. What do you think?
I agree. And I just want to mention, really the only turnover was that one fumble that was on the rush. But J.J. Johnson just looks good. He's disciplined. He's ready to play. Like I said, he wants the ball, and he has been producing. He's just the center of every play. And like I said, that's the key. So Crown Point has really just made one mistake, and that's ultimately how they're down 2 scores instead of 1.
All right, Ryan, thanks a lot. And call back, give us an update as far as time and score, and then call us back when you have another score.
The way this game is going, it appears that you'll be hearing a lot from me today. Thanks,
Good.
guys.
All right. So we've talked about the teams. Andrew, is there anything that you noted at this particular point? Okay, Andrew went to the phone, so Steve, let's go to you.
There's just, what was your question again, Wayne?
You guys fall asleep on me here or what? No, is there anything that you've noted that kind of surprised you at this point?
Oh, yeah, definitely the Hanover-Culver game. When was the last time you heard a running clock and a Culver game in the opposite direction for them?
Yes.
I mean, we know Hanover Central is going to be good all season.
Right.
Did we necessarily expect 44-0 in the fourth quarter against the Culver military team? I surely didn't.
No.
Did we expect that Tony Bartolomeo was going to be this good, as a quarterback stepping in for the first time in Hanover?
I would have said yes, because he had a lot of run on the offense last year for them. Granted, not in the quarterback role, but he knows the offense. He was immersed into the offense, so I wasn't necessarily surprised to see him have as big of an impact early on as he is.
A good surprise for me is Westside leading Highland at the half, 14-6.
Oh wow, that is an upset. That is an upset. So why Highland is leading at the half?
Westside.
No, Westside
is leading at the half. And isn't this the day that they celebrate the new field at Westside, or was
I thought
that
they already did
Hammond
that.
Central?
Westside was last week, Hammond Central, and Hanover's this week for their
This
field.
week,
Yeah.
Okay.
And also Gary Graven is on hold with us right now.
All right, let's go to Gary Graben. Gary, what do you got for us?
Well, first of all, I think obviously Coach Parker told the team at Hanover that Wayne doesn't think you guys should be in the top 10. And so they went out and ate glass and ran like they were mad at the grass, and they are pummeling what normally is a tough opponent. So, and again, you guys touched on that before I get to my game. Doing this with a backup quarterback. Matt Kuntz has not played, and yet they have dominated these opponents, East Chicago, Morton, and now Culver Academy. I mean, total domination with a backup quarterback. So this is quite impressive. And, there's really, I mean, this Hanover team, there's few bumps in the way. They should go undefeated the rest of the regular season. But as we've talked about, in their sectional, West Lafayette is now in, who's a top 5 in the state team. So we're probably going to see a lot of subs and running clocks the rest of the season in Hanover games.
Gary, have you put the onus on Hanover going undefeated?
Well, I also put it on Maryville last week. Those are the 2 teams I think are going undefeated this year in the regular season. But be that as it may, what do I know? I would have Hanover in the top 10. So what do I know?
Yeah, and you'd probably have Maryville number 1 because they're.
You said it. I'm just too humble.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We know.
I'm just way too humble. To my 2 games here, we've reached the half at both of them. Out at the Inferno and Lowell, it is New Prairie 17-0 at the half. And again, Lowell has not been able to generate much offensively. They have not gotten deep into New Prairie territory. And the quickness, as we've talked about, from New Prairie with Noah Mengia with 2 scores, just a little too much for Lowell to handle. We'll see what adjustments they can make here at the half to try to get a little more offense. But right now, nothing happening. And then the game that you guys have been talking a little bit about, Michigan City at Chesterton, that has also reached the half with a 13-7 score. Michigan City jumping out early, and then 2 Chesterton touchdown passes from Sebastian Boswell to bring them to a 13-7 lead at the half in Chesterton.
Did you expect that type of a score?
This was a game to me that is very. I'm not the one who picks games. There's somebody else who's the master at picking games. But this is a game to me that was very hard to pick because Chesterton, again, with new people at some of the key positions, Michigan City with an 0-2 record, I really didn't know what to expect in this game. I think they are pretty evenly matched. And I think this is one of those games we may see go down to the finish because I think these are 2 teams that have a lot of similarities. And the Michigan City defense has finally found a little bit because they really were torched here in the first couple weeks. They just got to now find some offense in this game.
Okay, Gary, you haven't heard anything about the Griffith-Hobart score, have you?
I have not. I'm trying to think who we can get a hold of for that score. Let me.
Jason would know.
Jason Hill, has he been calling in tonight from Munster?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. See if he has Hobart contacts. See if he can get a Hobart score for you.
All righty. All right, Gary, give us the time and score for the Chesterton-Michigan City game.
Again, at Chesterton, it is Chesterton 13-7 over Michigan City at the half, and at Lowell, New Prairie is leading 17-0 at the half.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Actually, I have an update for that Hobart game. It's 14-0 Hobart in the third quarter.
All right, 14-0 Hobart in the third quarter.
Just a passing thought here, Hobart not running away from Griffith, and Munster ran away from Griffith last week.
Yeah.
We're going to have to see what's going on here because there might be changes afoot.
Well, definitely there may be changes in the top 10, I'll tell you that.
I can't believe that. I just can't believe I'm stunned. When I get the first top 10, I already go get it laminated because I am so sure that it's never going to change.
Well, I see the top 10 constantly on T-shirts walking around the studio here.
Well, we do that, but I couldn't afford that many T-shirts to change every week.
All right. Thanks.
Love you, Weiner.
Thank you, Gary. We'll talk to you later.
We'll see you.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're going to take a break right now, and we'll come back. More Game Night.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM. The Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio.
Hey, I'm Tom Maloney, Vice President of Radio Operations here at Lakeshore Public Radio. I'm excited about everything going on here at the station, from the awards coming our way to the new programs we've lined up for you to the signal expansion and more. We are committed to serving Northwest Indiana with trusted quality programming, but we can't do it without you. Your financial support is what powers Lakeshore Public Radio. Be powerful. Help make a difference. Donate today at lakeshorepublicradio.org.
If you're one of the millions of Americans who are waiting for President Biden's student loan forgiveness program to launch, guess what? Scammers are waiting for you.
I'm calling regarding your student loan.
In order for you to qualify, you must apply within the next 24 hours.
Give me a call back. I would like to discuss
How to spot a loan forgiveness scam. That's on the next All Things Considered from NPR News. Tune in at 4 p.m. for Weekend All Things Considered here on Lakeshore Public Radio, streaming online at lakeshorepublicradio.org.
I listen to Bullseye because I like new and interesting and funny and cool things, and I don't like to do the work to find those things.
I'm Jesse Thorne. This week, I'll talk with the great Bonnie Hunt from Jumanji, Jerry Maguire, The Bonnie Hunt Show, and the new family show, Amber Brown. That's on the next Bullseye from MaximumFun.org and NPR.
Tune in Saturday night at 6 here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, The Lakeshore. Listener-supported public radio. And now, the Game Night broadcast team.
All right, welcome back to Game Night. We again want to thank our sponsors, Pepe's Tacos, Pepe's Off-Broadway, providing the crew tonight with outstanding tacos and food. Join Pepe's for their second annual Mexican Independence Day Fiesta, Saturday, September 10th, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. There will be outdoor patio seating, live bands, a DJ, and a beer/margarita garden. Oh, and they also have really good tacos. And believe me, Ben and I really understand that. The owner-operator, Adam, wishes the Maryville Pirates good luck on the game tonight. And Pepe's is located at 260 East 94th Drive, which is right off of Broadway in Maryville. Pepe's Tacos.
And you know I've had more than my share of those tacos today, so thank you so much for that. And I also want to thank NIPSCO. NIPSCO has been an integral part for what we do for years here at Lakeshore Public Media, and we really appreciate all they've done for all of us. And another person who we appreciate all they do for us is Al Rodriguez, who's got an update from Culver Academy at Hanover. Al, what's going on out there?
As always. Hey, game's over. Culver did score with 2 minutes left. They ran. Hanover turned the ball over on the 42-yard line. Culver marched down and scored. Game's over. Running clock. Final score is Hanover 44, Culver 6.
So, Al, what would you say the key was for Hanover here?
I mean, from my point of view, watching Hanover play and getting beat by Culver, because it's always been a way. It was a vendetta game. We got to play them. We got to show them we can play on their level. And I think they far exceeded their expectations. They played very well.
Revenge is a dish best served on a brand new turf field, right?
I like that one, yeah. I'm going to have to steal that one and use it and say it was my own, but very good.
There you go. You can have it. You can have it.
All right.
We are public broadcasting, and you are part of the public, so you can use that one. Free domain.
But it was a great night for football, gentlemen. A beautiful night. Great night.
Excellent, Al. Hey. Well, Al's celebrating with the cheerleaders there. One more time, what was the final?
40 for Hanover, 44, Culver 6.
44-6.
It's going to be a long bus ride back to Culver.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Al, for the updates. All right, take care. So, Wayne, that was a pretty impressive game for Hanover. A bounce back from last year's loss.
Definitely, and that's a game that the Hanover can be very happy with. Especially, and again, I'll say this over and over again, their starting quarterback from last year was not playing again. You're using a person who did not play much quarterback to run that offense, and Bartolomeo has just done outstanding for the Hanover Central Wildcats.
And let's not kid ourselves. The Bartolomeos have been successful in Northwest Indiana football for generations, literally 3 that I know of off the top of my head. So obviously they are a very talented family. But you take a talented football player in Bartolomeo, you surround him with other talented athletes, and then you play in an offense that lets that talent do what they do.
Right.
It's really an excellent recipe.
And I think that's the key. That's a very good point. You take that talent and let them do what they do. You don't force the system around them to limit them. You let the system open up and use the talents. And I think that Coach Parker has done an outstanding job with that.
So we'll have to ask Kevin Driscoll when he's on next week or next time he's on, how many games in a row have there been a running clock for Hanover? They've really been laying it to their opponents throughout this season, as they did last season. At some point, though, they do meet some tougher teams down the road, and more than likely in sectionals.
Yes, and next year, I believe, Hanover moves up to the Crossroads. That's a bigger conference for them. So certainly this motivation will help their confidence, the Hanover Wildcats, when they move up to play with the big boys.
Yeah, absolutely. And good programs need good competition.
That's right.
And they will continue. I fully believe with how well they're coached and the talent they have on their team, they will be able to at least continue most of their success going forward. So it's really exciting. One thing I wanted to mention, we did get an update from the Hobart game. And so what was it, 14-0? Hobart was winning at halftime?
Yes.
So it appears that Hobart's kind of figuring things out here the last couple of weeks. They've had a rough schedule, to start their season. But they are a talented squad themselves, so it's good to see Hobart rebounding here in week 3.
Yes, and the fact that Hobart is only leading 14-0, that has to say something positive about the Griffith defense too.
Right.
But I think in the second half that may change a little bit. I think in the second half that Griffith will have a more difficulty because that Trey Gibson can run the football.
Oh, right.
And that the Hobart offensive line is doing a good job this year. They always do. They always have a great offensive line. So I'm kind of anxious to see what that second half bodes for Hobart and Griffith.
And when you're a running offense, you have the ability to get out ahead. That clock starts getting eaten away and eaten away and eaten away. One team I wanted to highlight that is doing nothing but running today is Wheeler. Wheeler is running the Wildcat exclusively to this point, and it's not working out very well for them. Their offensive struggles have been well documented so far this season, and it's interesting to me that they're trying something new over there in Wheeler.
Yeah, it's nice that they're trying something new. It takes time when you put a new system in. And Calumet may not be the best team to run this,
right?
Something against them. But again, you got to change up. I mean, if you want to get that program back on track, and you have a limited number of resources to do that, you got to stick with your system and what you want to do.
And in fairness, you're right. They have a system. They have to try to make sure that they're in position to succeed as well. At some point, maybe you just got to try something new, throw it against the wall, see if it sticks. That's what they're trying today. It hasn't worked, but like you said, Calumet's a pretty stout defense, and they're a good program.
And I think also, you look down a list. I like the way Kankakee Valley's playing.
Right.
They're dominating South Bend. Washington, now I know. People that know football up here realize that South Bend, except for a couple of teams, are not very strong teams.
Right.
But still, to travel up to South Bend from KV, to be able to kind of dominate that first half for South Bend, Washington, it may be in the second half now for sure, because I think they started early. But that bodes well for Coach Kennedy.
Well, Coach Kennedy has a proven track record of success. And to be able to bring a team from Kankakee Valley all the way up into South Bend, and like you said, South Bend isn't necessarily the toughest team on the block. Oftentimes in that area, it's the suburbs of South Bend, yes. the Mishawaka's and the Penns, and some of those areas that are a little more powerful. But it seems like they're turning a corner down there in Kankakee Valley, and it'll be interesting to see if they're mixing in a little more passing and not just relying on the run.
Yeah, I totally agree. And once they can do that, Coach Kennedy is going to establish the run. There's no doubt about it. But to win big in high school, you've got to at least be able to move the ball through the air a little bit. So that's their next goal. And right now, hey, they've got a nice lead, and I think they're doing well.
Yeah, and it's good to see. You like to see teams kind of find their groove and start moving forward positively in their momentum. These are young kids, 14 to 18-year-olds. These kids are they're still learning what they can and can't do, and they're still learning the system. This is a brand new coach, brand new situation. It's going to take some time.
And not everybody at the beginning of the year bought into that.
Right.
And, kids don't know who Coach Kennedy is. They've heard their parents talk about him, or maybe the assistant coaches talk about him. But he doesn't mean much to them. So a lot of kids, not a lot, but some kids maybe did not buy into the system. Now with a couple of wins under KV's belt, I think that bodes well for Coach Kennedy and his program.
And as you guys were saying about Hobart turning it on, they're now up 21-0.
Oh, excellent. Thank you for that update. Do you have any note on how they scored, or
no?
Okay. So when we don't have a correspondent there, sometimes we have to scour the internet and try to find what we need to do to get those scores in. But it seems like Hobart is finding their footing and taking care of business. We knew they would get there, and now that the schedule is a little bit easier, I think they're really going to show something.
They're going to have to.
They're going to have to. Exactly right. So let's go back to our game of the night here. We're at halftime, and it seems like although the Crown Point keeps trying to pull the momentum back in their favor, Maryville is keeping Crown Point at an arm's length, and that's a tough thing to do.
I keep thinking to myself, that's why Maryville is number 1 in 5A.
Right.
It has a lot to do with what they did last year. I understand that at the beginning of the year. But now they're showing, they played an Andrean team. They honestly probably dominated that game more than people want to give credit to them for. Then they, in their second game, they played really, really well at Maryville. And now they're coming to play probably this early in the season, their toughest competition, and they're stepping up to play well against them.
Yeah, and it's very interesting to see. We knew they were a talented team in Maryville, and we presumed that there was going to be a tremendous improvement from Crown Point. When it comes to Maryville, I don't want to say they struggled, because they didn't. They were winning their games fairly easily. But according to some people out there, the eye test may not have been there. Maybe there was some mistakes here, but it seems like they're playing a really tight game.
And sometimes that eye test is predicated on what people perceive Maryville to be doing. Right. I know I fall into that trap too. I mean, you look at Maryville and I say, my God, they should be winning by more, because they're so talented. They're young. They've got a brand new quarterback.
Right.
The kid needs to adjust. I don't care who he is. He's coming in, like you mentioned earlier in the show, Angel Nelson. And Nelson was a good quarterback.
Right.
So here's a young man, that Thomas, that comes in and all of a sudden starts to play well. I know he's big, 6'5", blah, 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 but he's actually not doing things to hurt the team. I haven't heard any interceptions from him.
Right.
And that just is, he is, basically controlling the situation, which a quarterback needs to do.
Yeah, and let's not give him the dreaded game manager title, because that's not the case. He is finding people.
Yes.
He is excelling there, but what he isn't doing is making mistakes.
Right.
It's a 2-score game right now, and you're in a position where, what did Crown Point do on their opening possession?
Right.
They fumbled the ball. Maryville took it in, scored. If you want to be in a game where it's going to come down to who has the ball last, you can't be making those types of mistakes.
That's for sure, especially in this type of a game. And it's probably of any game, but still, with the pressure on this one, that your kids have been pointing to this in the offseason. Crown Point is in the 3rd week. Maryville is in the 3rd week. In the offseason workouts, you're talking about the opponent. You're talking about how good they are. all of a sudden the newspapers start saying, oh, Crown Point has really put it together in the second year. We talked about that. Bazia's influence on Crown Point. You know the Maryville kids are listening.
Of course.
Okay. Hopefully not during the game, but they're listening. And so, they know what the stakes are.
Sure.
And it's pressure. And I like the way Maryville has reacted to pressure. But I also like the fact that Crown Point has worked their way back to a 1 or 2 possession score.
Right. And it's about the heat. Can you take the heat? If you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. And speaking of heat, we've got an update from the Red Devils down in Lowell. We've got Gary Graben updating us from New Prairie at Lowell. Gary, what's going on out there?
How about a little life from the Red Devils here coming out of the locker room at halftime? A drive featured a couple of beautiful passes and, unfortunately for New Prairie, a unsportsmanlike personal foul, but eventually led to an Owen Seal 2-yard touchdown run, making the score 17-7. Seal is the running back who took Malachi James's place, so he gets his first recognition here. But with 7 minutes to go in the third quarter, it's a 10-point game.
So still two score game here with New Prairie up by 10. But Lowell needs to be able to hunker down and take the ball back from New Prairie.
Well, they have had a few defensive stops, but the key here is some passes to the tight end that were very key. James Langan, who's the big 6'4", 230 senior at tight end. This made the offense spread it out a little bit. Over the years, people always are yelling pass when Lowell's on the field, but it's still, as Keith Kim always said, they want to pass when they want to. And this was a drive that really mixed the run and the pass well, aided by, of course, the personal foul.
So, Gary, do you think this is an opportunity for Lowell to get back in this game, or is New Prairie just experiencing a hiccup at this point?
Well, we're going to see here with again, they have been able to contain Mungie a little bit, I should say, for a little bit here at the end of the first half. But again, 2 scores, so they're going to need some stops. They're probably going to need a little help, maybe a turnover from New Prairie if they're going to come all the way back here.
So what is the time and score, Gary?
It is 17-7, New Prairie over Lowell with 7 minutes to play in the third quarter.
So there's still quite a bit of time. Now, these are both running-based offenses, so eventually that's going to start wearing.
Fewer possessions than a regular game. There's, when these teams are running so much. So you won't get quite as many opportunities, but again, that momentum on offense now needs to turn into defensive momentum for Lowell.
All right, Gary, thank you for the update. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks. So Lowell's showing a bit of life right now, and that's good. At some point, with the Red Devil pride behind them, they're going to take a swipe at this. They're going to show some emotion and some heart. Is it too little, too late? We're going to have to see.
Well, I don't think it's too little, too late yet.
Right.
Maybe moving into the fourth quarter, it would be. But if both of these teams are playing defense like it looks like they're playing defense, this kind of surprised me. When New Prairie jumped out to 17-0, I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be a runaway for New Prairie.
Right.
Lowell didn't think that one bit. And obviously coming back and scoring first in the second half is a really big positive for Lowell. It's at Lowell, which helps out. And I think, this is going to be a great second half in this game.
And from one team trying to claw back into a game to another one, we've got Ryan Sosnowski with an update from Crown Point and Maryville. Ryan, what's up?
All right, so I'm here at the Crown Point Maryville game at Demery, and excuse me, Crown Point just scored after just a little bit under a 6-minute possession. Just grinded out, rushing. Basically, the key points were J.J. Johnson ran the option 7 times on this drive and made roughly, about 40 yards. But, 79% of statistics are made up on the spot here. So I'd say roughly about 40 yards. Then, Elijah Taiwan rushed once. And then J.J. Johnson threw a 10-yard pass to number 88, Randy Locke, for some yardage. And then Elijah Taiwan rushed it in with the extra point being good. So the score now is Maryville 34, Crown Point 28, with 6 minutes and 4 seconds left in the third quarter.
So, Ryan, it seems like J.J. Johnson is continuing to try to will Crown Point to victory here.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think Crown Point's coach, Buzea, I think he figured out that Maryville just really has a hard time stopping that option. Now we'll see if the risk is worth the reward, but I would say on this drive it is.
All right, Ryan, one more time. What is the score update and the time?
Maryville leads 34-28. Maryville has possession with 5 minutes and 46 seconds and counting left in the third quarter, 1st and 10.
Ryan Sosnowski, thank you very much. Appreciate the update.
No problem, guys.
We're going to go ping-ponging from Gary Graven to Ryan, back to Gary Graven with an update on Chesterton versus City. Gary, what's going on?
This time for Michigan City, the junior Cam Bell, a 60-yard punt return, extra point good, and Michigan City nudges back into the lead, 14-13 over the Trojans.
So, if you have been listening throughout the day, we have talked about the kickers and the fact that there's an extra point that was missed here in this game that could loom large.
It certainly is looming large at the moment. We'll see again how this chases out here. We're midway through the third quarter. But again, or if they need to make a field goal at the end here, a lot of things where the kicker may get a chance at redemption. But right now, it's the Michigan City team that has taken the lead over Chesterton, 14-13.
And the person who ran the was it a kickoff back or punt?
A punt. Cameron Bell.
Cameron Bell, thank you.
All right,
Gary. A ringer.
A ringer. Well done. Well done. Good dad joke.
You see what I did there?
I did.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
I think we need to take a break after that.
I was sleeping.
See, I'm ready to go all night.
All right. Well, we are going to go ahead and take a break here on 89.1 The Lakeshore.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, The Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio.
At Lakeshore Public Radio, our job is to bring you vital news and information while breaking down what it means internationally, nationally, and right here at home. This deep dive journalism has disappeared from many newspapers and other outlets. With your help, we're doing everything we can to fill that void. It's the support and generosity of listeners like you that make that independence and integrity possible. Please do your part and make a donation today at lakeshorepublicradio.org.
Indie rock singer Ezra Furman says she was debilitatingly shy in high school, except when she played music.
The stage was like medicine for me. I couldn't ever say where I was at to a person in conversation.
Talk with her about her past, present, and her new album, All of Us in Flames, Saturday on Weekend Edition from NPR. Tune in at 7 a.m. for Weekend Edition here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM, and streaming online at lakeshorepublicradio.org.
What makes something cool or not? One culture writer says status is the answer.
Rugby shirts are a timeless item. Football jerseys aren't. So these things aren't accidental. They do really map to power and hierarchy and things like that.
But we can redefine cool and maybe shake up old power structures along the way. Find out how next time on It's Been a Minute from NPR.
Tune in Saturday morning at 9 and Sunday afternoon at 3 here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM.
This is 89.1 FM Lakeshore Public Radio. Listener-supported public radio in Northwest Indiana. WLPR FM Lowell.
And now, your Game Night Scoreboard update.
Well, what's up, Lakeshore Game Night? Steve Schmidt here as we have some finals rolling into the 89.1 FM studio. So let's see what's going on. First off, Crown Point and Maryville, third quarter. Maryville has a 34-28 lead. What a ball game this has been. Back and forth, back and forth. It's going to be an exciting game to keep up with in the fourth quarter. Lake Central at Portage at the end of three quarters. It is Lake Central 17-6 over Portage. Portage got the scoring started on a Colton Wilkie 33-yard touchdown run back in the first quarter, but since then, 17 unanswered for Lake Central. Laporte at Valpo in the third quarter. Valpo has a 35-3 lead. They got the scoring started in the first quarter on a 38-yard touchdown run by Travis Davis. Laporte then countered a field goal, 36 yards by Jack Doty, but since then, it has been all Vikings. Michigan City at Chesterton. You've heard it from Gary in the last segment. Third quarter, it's Michigan City 14-13 over Chesterton. Cam Bell, the 60-yard punt return for a touchdown. EC Central at Munster. Last update was in the second quarter. Munster was up 14-0. Elkhart at Morton. Third quarter, Elkhart has a 35-6 lead over the Governors. Westside at Highland. Third quarter, Westside is up in this one 20-6, looking for their first win of the season. South Bend Clay at Hammond Central. Last update, halftime. Hammond Central was up 48-0. Boone Grove at South Central. Halftime score update is the last one rolled in here as it's 26-0 Boone Grove. Calumet at Wheeler. Third quarter has been all Warriors in this one, 33-0. Culver Military at Hanover. Final score here, Hanover Central is the winner in this one, 44-6. Big night for Tony Bartolomeo and Kyle Hazley. Griffith at Hobart. Third quarter of action. Hobart has a 35-0 lead over the Panthers. Lake Station at River Forest. Third quarter, River Forest is up 33-3. Aidan Silver, 3 touchdowns for the Ingots, 2 through the air and 1 on the ground. KV at South Bend, Washington. KV's a winner in this one tonight, 41-0. Their second consecutive shutout. New Prairie at Lowell. Third quarter, New Prairie has a 17-7 lead. Noah Mungia with 2 touchdowns for the Cougars and Owen Teal with 1 for the Red Devils. Rensselaer at Hamilton Heights. Final score there. Hamilton Heights is a winner 21-0, and West Central over Tri-County 44-0. Stay tuned for the remainder of Lakeshore Game Night. I'm Steve Schmidt.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
And we want to, you forgot one score there, Steve. Yeah, it's 16-10 Indiana over Illinois.
Oh, that was my bad. That was next up.
For those of us listening, we have some Indiana fans and some Illinois fans. I'm not going to name names because I'm a Purdue Boilermaker, so I don't want to make those folks feel embarrassed. But the bottom line is a little friendly banter going on here in studio. But I think that game still has plenty to go.
To update the Munster EC score, it is 22-12. Munster was 7:30 to go in the third.
So Munster's looking pretty good at this point. They have figured some things out. So they're running a triple offense or triple option offense. That can wreak havoc on a defense because it's all about assignment football. If you don't play against multiple option teams throughout the year, it's really hard to put one defense in for 1 week.
Yeah, and you see more of that this year and at the end of last year. Munster has the triple option. Crown Point runs a variation of the triple option. Lowell is running more of a, maybe option offense. So more teams are starting to go to that. And I don't know if that's because they don't have a lot of confidence in their quarterback. Munster does. Preboy has been talked up all last week about his contribution to Munster. So what do you think is the reason for that, Ben?
I think it's the opposite. I think you trust your quarterback because think of all the decisions that quarterback has to make. If you're running a triple option, normally there's a dive action. So do you hand the ball off or do you pull it? Then you oftentimes have a flare motion on the backside or the rolling side. Does that quarterback pitch it? Does he keep it? It's really a unique thing, and if you can run an option right, you can do a lot of damage. It works really well in high school, not as much in college, and is non-existent in the NFL because those athletes are too good on those defenses. But at this point, if you can run an option in high school, you're putting yourself in a good position.
I agree, and sometimes people say, well, maybe they just don't have a quarterback that can throw it. The quarterback has to be intelligent enough to be able to read the defense and know when to give the ball up and do it accurately. And I think that, J.J. Johnson, A.J. Preboy from Munster, I guess those are types of quarterbacks that the coaches kind of love.
Right. So J.J. Johnson has been running, from what I understand, a bit of a quarterback read option. So think, for you college football fans, the Minnesota action. So he's seeing if the running option is there, and then he can make the decision, hand it off or take it myself. he's really optioning only one half of that defense because that's all that he needs to do. And from what it sounds like, he's doing an excellent job this game.
Yep, I totally agree. What do you think of the Valpo Laporte? Valpo right now is up 35-0 over Laporte.
Yeah, that game started off fairly close early. All games start 0-0, but it was a little more of a contest early. I think that Valpo's depth has started to click here, and although they're very similar size and numbers wise, Valpo has, as we're well aware, a deep team. They do every single year, and when you have your third stringers coming in to spell your second stringers who've already spelled your starters, there's a lot of fresh bodies out there.
Yeah, and I like the Davis kid. He scored another touchdown tonight, and is helping Valpo there. I don't know about their quarterback situation, but with Valparaiso's offensive line history, they're opening up. They must be opening up some nice holes for Davis.
They very well could be. From what I understand, they replaced every single one of their linemen this year. They had one player, I think it was a Hofer coming back who had some experience, but he wasn't a starter. Whenever you have a situation where new offensive linemen, it takes 2-3 weeks to kind of understand what it's like to hit a varsity player. It's a different animal. You're not hitting the JV anymore. You're not hitting the freshman team anymore. You're full go against 18-year-old kids. That some of these kids are going to college here next year to play college football. So it's definitely a situation that they are they're finding their groove, so to speak.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Valpo has always had talent come into that program. So Coach Marshall does a great job there. He's a good communicator, and he's going to turn that program he has turned that program into really success.
Oh yeah, Valpo's been tough, and they have been for the greater part of the last couple decades. They've been one of the better teams in Northwest Indiana. They've had a series of good coaches, and they definitely have a talent base for that Pop Warner program that has been spitting out kids that are following the Valpo way of running the same offense from the time you're in kindergarten all the way up to varsity. That is a very, very significant thing. And I think that's what Coach Bazia is trying to do in Crown Point, reinvigorate that Pop Warner club and make sure that they're all on the same page. And Valpo's been doing that.
River Forest 33, Lake Station Zip. River Forest is really and Aidan Silver has 3 touchdowns for River Forest, and boy has he really made a name for himself this year.
You might be able to say right now, just by the gaudy numbers that he's putting up, he is one of the better players in Northwest Indiana.
Oh, I agree.
And it's not even a question. It's just 3 touchdowns this week. Didn't he have 3 last week?
Right.
So he has been really putting up big time numbers, and that's what a program like River Forest needs.
And coming from a program like River Forest, who was dominated the last 2-3 years by a halfback that really took off, now all of a sudden Silver, and I don't think he played quarterback last year. I think he was either a running back or a wide receiver, had moved to that quarterback spot. It just bodes very well for River Forest program.
When you're a good athlete, you got to figure out a way to get the ball in their hands. And he is clearly an excellent athlete. I think we've seen or heard that he's fast, he's slippery, and I mean that in the best way possible. It's hard to tackle someone who is strong, slippery, and quick like that, and he keeps scoring touchdowns back and forth. So that's a good thing. We've got an update here from Gary Graven with New Prairie and Lowell. Gary, what's going on down there?
Well, New Prairie has been beset by penalties in the second half, some in the first half too, and a little bit of a change in their game plan where they're running a little more in the middle and not having the same success. Lowell got the ball back and was able to go all the way to the inside the 10-yard line, but a fumble on a play after they'd converted a 4th down gave the ball back to New Prairie inside the 5. So with 9:11 to go in the 4th quarter, it is New Prairie 17, Lowell 7. New Prairie has the ball inside their own 5-yard line.
New Prairie seems to be struggling a little bit, and that may be adjustments that were made from Lowell defensively at halftime. But boy, that turnover at the 10-yard line had to hurt.
Yeah, that is. I mean, again, there's still 9 minutes to go, but when you think about this game being a running game, the clock moving most of the time, you're not going to get that many opportunities, and so that could be a costly error.
Right, it's still a 2-score game, and when you're getting into single-digit minutes left in the fourth quarter, and both of these teams run, that does not bode well.
Right, and you figure now, I mean, New Prairie has not passed much this side anyway, but you figure this is going to be a ground and pound as much as they can, and even if they only get a couple of first downs just so they can pump the ball into Lowell territory, just make them have to go the whole length, and the time may be less than Lowell needs. So we're going to see. Lowell at least has shown some fight here in the second half, but a costly turnover here keeps New Prairie ahead by 10.
All right, Gary, one more time, that score and time?
17-7, New Prairie over Lowell with about 9 minutes to go.
Gary, is Michigan City still a 14-13 game?
Still 14-13. No update there.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Gary.
Yes.
All right, we're going to move on to our game of the week. We've got Ryan Sosnowski with Crown Point and Maryville. Ryan, what's going on?
All right, I want to echo Gary Graven's statement about costly turnovers. So I mentioned previously that Crown Point had a pretty lengthy possession. Well, after about a minute here, Jalen Thompson throws an interception and to Crown Point's number 10, Jalen Kelly, where then Crown Point has another lengthy possession where number 5, Elijah Taiwan, probably rushed for at least 40 yards, multiple attempts. J.J. Johnson, rushed, he ran the option for about 10 yards and ultimately scored a touchdown off the option. The extra point is good. So currently, Crown Point leads Maryville now 35-34 with 27.7 seconds left in the third after that costly interception.
Mistakes happen, and it appears that Crown Point in the second half is the beneficiary of these mistakes. How is Maryville responding to this turn of events?
Well, on defense, Maryville just really seems to be struggling with the rush, and Crown Point is really just taking control of the clock. Where I would say, like I said, Maryville maybe has only had possession for maybe 2 minutes this entire quarter. So Crown Point is taking control of the game just by taking control of the clock, rushing.
So basically, Crown Point, the motivation, the momentum, I should say, is in Crown Point's favor?
I would say so, definitely. And even continuing here on, what's been going on in offense with Crown Point definitely appears to be hyping up their defense. Because now we're on, excuse me, we're second down, 8 yards to go, on Maryville's 10. And it just seems like Maryville now, up to this point at the end of the third quarter, has just been running into a brick wall every time they try to rush.
So Maryville has the ball at the 10? At their own 10?
At their own 10, correct.
Wow.
And going into the fourth quarter, which is just about to begin, Maryville will have the ball at their own 10.
Second down.
8 yards to go.
Second down or third?
Second down, 8 yards to go.
Okay.
All right, Ryan, thank you for the update. Sounds like we got a barn burner there. Looking forward to hearing more from you.
No problem. 35-34, Crown Point lead, start of the fourth quarter. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. So here we are. This game is coming down to it. It seems like some adjustments were made at halftime, and Crown Point was down by 2 scores and have come back to take a late lead going into the fourth quarter.
That's what established coaching does, and that staff that he has. They went into the locker room, made some slight adjustments, and the kids came out to execute well. They're on the road. They're in a difficult environment, Crown Point is. And yet they found a way to get back. Turnovers. We talked about, Thomas wasn't making any. Well, all of a sudden, one happens. And that's not the turning point. But certainly that's going to be a factor in when teams are so evenly matched.
Right.
That is going to be the difference in this ball game.
And also that miss extra point could really come back to haunt the Pirates.
That's right.
We're going back to it. This is the week of the importance of the kicker.
Right.
And as these games are, they're really tight. They're really exciting. These players are getting getting excited. Their adrenaline is going. And oftentimes when your aggression is getting that high, mistakes will happen. Football is a game of aggression, but it's controlled aggression.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to make sure you're under control, and that can lead to something like a fumble or an errant pass because they want to so badly, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. You have to make sure that you're doing what you need to do and under control. So as fatigue and excitement and this game wears on, we're in for a good finish here.
Oh, I really think so. Steve Schmidt and I were talking just a little while ago, and I asked Steve what he thought was his surprise of the night, and he came up with one that even surprised me, and that is that Westside is at Highland, leading Highland 20-6.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
Yes.
Wow, that's a big discrepancy there. I was not expecting that. And you know what? We've got Gary Graben here. Let's move on to Gary with an update from Chesterton versus City.
It's the end of the third quarter, and the score has not changed. It is still 14-13. The Michigan City Wolves ahead of the Chesterton Trojans. Michigan City is in Chesterton territory, but right now this slim 1-point lead is what Michigan City is clinging to with 12 minutes to go.
All right, Gary, it's another game that's going to go down to the wire. Seems like the DAC is providing some entertainment today.
They usually do, and I think one of the great things tonight is that we've talked that Maryville Crown Point game. Sometimes the games we think are the games of the year are not, but this one is turning out to be the game of the year.
Yeah, quite exciting for sure. So thank you, Gary. One more time, going into the fourth quarter, what's the score?
14-13, Michigan City clinging to the 1-point lead.
All right, Gary, thank you much.
You got it.
So you when we come back from break, we'll talk more about that Westside versus Highland game and get more updates as we go along. This is Ben Kolodzinski from 89.1 FM, The Lakeshore.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, The Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio.
At Lakeshore Public Radio, our job is to bring you vital news and information while breaking down what it means internationally, nationally, and right here at home. This deep dive journalism has disappeared from many newspapers and other outlets. With your help, we're doing everything we can to fill that void. It's the support and generosity of listeners like you that make that independence and integrity possible. Please do your part and make a donation today at lakeshorepublicradio.org.
You think it's behind you. You've come so far, done so much, you think you'll never see them again. But turn around, and there they are. On the next Snap Judgment, the wedding guest. Snap Judgment. Do not miss it.
Saturday at 11 and Sunday at noon here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM.
We went out to dinner with friends. He would say, to my utter humiliation, "You never touch Mercia's food. You can train husbands, but occasionally they slip the leash and run amok."
Join us for stories all about adventures into the unfamiliar. That's next time on the Moth Radio Hour from PRX.
Tune in Saturday at noon and Sunday at 1 here on Lakeshore Public Radio, 89.1 FM.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, The Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio. And now, the Game Night broadcast team.
Ben Kolodzinski back at you with Wayne Svetnoff going over some of these games that are coming final. Before the break, we were chatting about Gary Westside at Highland, and Gary Westside is up big.
Yeah, and that's surprising. I'm not surprised that they may upset Highland or win a game there, but they're on the road, and now up 20-6 on Highland. Highland won last week, and you would think that they wouldn't be overlooking Westside, and Westside's making a run here. So I really think that this is kind of one of our surprises tonight.
I would think so. And Highland is a good program. They haven't been world beaters by any means, but you wouldn't be in a position to overlook someone. And you know what? Maybe it's just the matter of fact that maybe Westside's having a good night. Maybe they always have athletes there. Maybe they're just sticking it to them and good on them.
It's a situation where certainly Highland probably has more depth in their program, and Highlands we always think of Pete Koulianis' offense as being run the ball, gain that. Last year they had a dynamic quarterback and a kid named Nick Steele. They had to replace him for graduation. He graduated, so they had to replace him. Maybe it's Highland is in that period where you win one, then you lose one, you win one, and they need to get some consistency to get back in this Crossroads Conference.
Consistency is the name of the game, and that's you see that on making mistakes, turning the ball over. You need to make sure that you do what you do best every week. They say practice makes perfect, and all those cliches that I love to dip my toes into. But you have to make sure that you're practicing right, and it translates to the game.
Yeah, and that's happening right now for Westside, and also for Munster. I like the idea that Preboy has 2 touchdowns. They're up 22-12 against East Chicago.
Right.
And right now in this part of the season, there's a lot of people that at the start of the season were questioning Grunwald and his coaching there. I don't think so. I think that he's doing a pretty darn good job this season. It takes time.
Right.
You're following Leroy Marsh, who's a legend at Munster. How do you follow that?
A tough act to follow, for sure.
It is, and people don't understand that. I do. I was an assistant coach under Jim Hamill, who was a well-known name in basketball at Lake Central. And when he left for Lafayette Jeff, and I was able to be promoted to the head coaching job, there was a lot of pressure there. People thought that you were going to come in and we tried to run a lot of the same system, but we graduated a lot of players too once Hamill left, and he knew it. We had good kids, but it just wasn't the same talent level.
Well, sure, and that sort of thing is going to happen, especially in high school sports. You're not necessarily recruiting. You're really at the mercy of what is in your talent pool.
Right.
And if I remember correctly, Wayne, your ascension into the head coaching was coming off a pretty successful run, so expectations were high in that circumstance.
Well, anytime you get on a state and you're one of the Final Four, you're right, it was successful. And, it's a tough thing. So Grunwald, comes in there and, struggles the first couple of years.
Sure.
I love the fact, and this is coaches get this way. Many coaches will stay with what they believe in as a system.
Right.
Now, he saw that the system wasn't working and was willing to change. And I think that's a key for him down the road.
Absolutely. Sometimes you have to adapt. All right, we've got a phone update here from Tim Hogan with Wheeler versus Calumet. Tim, what's going on out there?
Nothing good.
Okay.
It was on Calumet again in the second half. Andrew Markham threw 2 touchdown passes, 19 yards to Javon Lawrence and a 19-yard to Terrell Caldwell, and then Jordan Bradley had a 62-yard touchdown run. Final score, Calumet 45, the Wheeler Bearcats 0.
So, Tim, I have a quick question for you. Wheeler was running that Wildcat for a big part of this game. Did they at least move forward? Did they get some momentum going in their favor when they were doing that?
No, and what they did is they ran the Wildcats the first series of the ball, and then after that, the next time they got the ball, they put Caleb Punzek back in at quarterback and went back to their regular offense. Unfortunately, nothing clicked tonight. Caleb had a couple nice throws. But Calumet was all over the field. We did not match their speed.
Calumet is a very good program. Let's not beat around that bush. They are a tremendous program, and they've had a lot of success recently, and they have a lot of good athletes. Is this just a circumstance where Calumet overmatched Wheeler?
I think part of that is, first of all, I agree with you. The program has really been on the rise the last 8 to 10 years. Coach Rick Good really turned that program around. And of course, Cody French is continuing the tradition. They have a nice program. They have good numbers. Tonight was basically they were overwhelmed. Wheeler's young. Sure. They have a young offensive line. They start 2 freshmen on the offensive line, and their quarterback's a sophomore. And I believe they played maybe 3 JV games last year, so he does not have a lot of varsity experience. And it's going to be growing pains, it looks like, for the Bearcats this year.
And that happens when you're young. Thank you, Tim. One more time, what was the final score there?
Final score from Wheeler, Calumet 45, Wheeler 0.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, thanks, Tim. All right.
Thanks.
Let's move on to Gary Graben here. He's got an update with New Prairie versus Lowell, a game that's coming down to the wire. Gary, what's going on?
Back to South Lake County, after each team had some 3-and-outs punting to each other, New Prairie was able to put together a drive, and Noah Mungia for the 3rd time tonight, a 16-yard touchdown run, extra point good, making it 24-7. New Prairie with 2:58 to go. This game is just about over.
Gary Mungie, is that
G-I-A.
G-I-A.
Mungia.
And he was a dynamic back for them last year as well. He's put together quite a nice little career.
He is from all reports, he is very difficult to handle, really quick with his feet. And when he gets outside, if you're one-on-one against him, you might as well just wave at him because he's going past you. So he put on a nice show tonight. And again, New Prairie is just better than Lowell. There's no other way to say that tonight. They're a better team and able to do more offensively and defensively than the Red Devils are able to do.
There's no shame in losing to a really good program like New Prairie. You got to keep in mind they were 1 play away from making it to the state finals last year.
And as we talked about, Lowell has so many holes to fill. Next week, Lowell's at Griffith. And we know Griffith has had some success and some losses this year. But Lowell will be favored next week at Griffith at the Boneyard. So a chance for them to put things together before they start conference play. But again, New Prairie, this team is very impressive. And I think that there's no reason that this team can't make a run like they did last year.
And thank you, thanks for the update, Gary. I appreciate it. What was the score as we're in the final minutes there?
It's 24-7, New Prairie over Lowell with 2:58 to go.
All right, thank you, Gary. Appreciate the update.
Thank you.
So unfortunately for Lowell Red Devil fans, it appears that New Prairie came in and did what New Prairie does, is they kind of just wear on you. They run it around you, and then they have the opportunity to throw it if they need be. Where does Lowell go from here, Wayne? What do you think the next step is?
Well, they're obviously Lowell needs to prepare for conference. That's if they could come back, and they've done this before. This is not a huge surprise. Lowell started a couple of years ago 0-3 on the season, and then came back. I thought went a sectional, but they've got to get things turned around. I know they're young. I know that they lost a lot. They've got to figure out what they want to do with their quarterback. Is he going to be a runner, or is he going to be in the halfback spot? But really, maybe the idea of their defense has to start to be a little bit more aggressive. Lowell only scored 7 points, but New Prairie is big, and they are physical.
Right.
So Lowell's got some work to do.
And that's when you have new players in new positions, it's really difficult sometimes to see where your strengths line up. And Lowell is a program with a lot of talent. They do have talent there, but sometimes the pieces of the puzzle, you just have to figure out how they fit just right before things click. It's really fortuitous for Lowell going forward is that, they played some hard teams. They played some tough teams to start this year. And, I think it's Griffith next week.
Yes.
So no offense to Griffith, but it is kind of a step down in the success rate of the teams they've been playing. So it'll be interesting to see how Lowell rebounds next week.
Yeah, and that again, I'm not sure where that's at, if it's at Lowell or at Griffith, but boy, I'm just looking at Lowell and I'm thinking to myself, they need to get on a winning track.
Well, and I assure you, those kids are playing hard.
Oh yeah,
they always do, and they are well coached down there. Sometimes you can do everything right and still lose.
Yeah,
and we'll see how Lowell goes going forward with that. So back on the idea of the kickers. So we've got a few games that are coming down to 1-point games, and all of those games have been the victim. The teams losing have been at least the victim of a missed PAT. How do you think going forward this is going to affect some of these teams as it goes down?
Well, when you look at the two games that you're probably alluding to, number one, Chesterton is down by a point to Michigan City, 14-13. Now, Chesterton has always been known as a very good kicking team.
Right.
They've had some excellent, outstanding kickers. It's going to come down to Chesterton has to find somebody that can, be successful on the extra points,
right,
and in field goals if they want to be in this. Maryville has kind of, and I don't want to use really this as an excuse, but their kicker, Rodriguez,
right,
is a soccer player who's playing with the soccer team right now.
Sure.
And they're losing. Maryville is 35-34 at Maryville. So Maryville may have a better chance when the kicker in soccer is over for the soccer person to
sure.
come in. Chesterton, I don't know. They have a great kicking program there, but
it'll be interesting to see for sure. It's just a situation where you're reminded that special teams are part of the big
That's
three. Right. Offense, defense, special teams, and special teams can come up and bite you. So now going back to the Maryville Crown Point game, the game of the night. Obviously, Crown Point has clawed back and taken a late lead here. What does Maryville need to do to right the ship and make sure that momentum doesn't carry further for the Bulldogs?
We've talked about it at the beginning of this game. We've talked about it during the contests. This game is so close in talent. Crown Point, Maryville. You cannot turn the ball over. You cannot throw interceptions
right
in that second half. You've got to be able to take what the Crown Point defense has given you.
Speaking of the update for this game, Ryan Sosnowski has an update for Crown Point versus Maryville. Ryan, what's going on?
Another lengthy possession by Crown Point. A lot of rushing. Ultimately, J.J. Johnson, once again, runs the option, scores for the touchdown. Extra point good. Crown Point leads 42-34 with 3 minutes and 22 seconds left.
Ryan, how many touchdowns does Johnson have?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3.
3.
Yep.
Again, another 3 touchdown week for J.J. Johnson.
Incredible performance. So,
incredible.
Ryan, does Maryville, what is their demeanor like out there? It seems like they've completely been swallowed by the momentum here.
Well, on defense, Crown Point has just really been grinding it out, living up to that team motto that he's really been advertising with stuff. But, on offense, we'll see here. The offense has been, on the sideline for probably most of the half. This Crown Point has had complete control of the possession.
So, Ryan, you would imagine that Maryville will be passing the ball, try to score. So they're down by 8 points. Is that right?
Correct. 8 points.
So a touchdown and 2-point conversion can get this game tied up and maybe force overtime. But how much time is left on the clock, Ryan?
3 minutes and 16 seconds. First and 10 for Maryville at their 21.
Well, Ryan, you may be working some overtime in this one.
All right, Ryan, thank you for the update. Let us know what you got when something happens.
Hey, no problem. What a debut. That's all I could say. Thanks, guys.
I agree.
All righty.
Yep.
So Crown Point extends their lead to 8 points. Now, I don't want to say I'm surprised about the situation, but it is definitely a game that is becoming almost a shocker here. So
I've got a little bit of a surprise for you guys before we bring Gary Graben on. Highland has come back and tied the game at 20 in the fourth quarter.
It looks like we spoke too soon about Westside, but that's a pretty exciting comeback. So good for them. So
maybe we can send Gary out to Highland because he likes those West Side 5 overtime games.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Speaking of Gary, you got an update for us. What you got?
Yeah, I'm on my way. Let's gas it up, baby. A final out at Lowell. It is 24-7 New Prairie. Again, a pretty dominant performance there. Out at Chesterton has scored. Garrett Lewis, the junior running back, a 20-yard touchdown run. They went for 2 and made it. So it is now 21-14 Chesterton with 7:35 to go as that game battles down to the finish.
So as expected, New Prairie held on to defeat Lowell, but it appears that Chesterton is surging past Michigan City, at least late in this game right now.
It is. This is a game that's going down to the wire here. These are 2 evenly matched teams. And again, we'll see who has the ball last here may determine a lot.
All right, Gary. So, how much time is left in that Chesterton game?
7:35.
7:35. So there's still a lot of football left.
And this game has had a lot of possessions. So each team will probably have the ball a couple more times. Michigan City's up against it here, though. They're going to have to come up with something here to at least force this game into an overtime. If not, go for the win. So we'll have to see what happens there as I head off to Highland.
And so if you're Michigan City right now, you're trying to avoid not only a disastrous 0-3 start, but an 0-1 start in the DAC. You would imagine they're pretty motivated right now. They need to be able to come up with something.
Well, and you know who goes to Michigan City next week is Valparaiso.
Right.
So this, it's amazing. It seems like we just started. And then there's a scenario already popping into the head that Michigan City could end up 0-3, 0-4. But it seems like we just started this season. But obviously they've got a chance tonight, and they have a lot of talented players. This game is not over, but it has not been what Michigan City had hoped, because I'm sure they hope to assert themselves a little more here this week. But the Chesterton defense has been solid. And, again, you notice that 3 touchdowns for Chesterton from 3 different players. So a well-balanced attack. They can get you running. They can get you passing. We'll see what happens here. Because remember, Michigan City, one of their touchdowns was an interception return. Right. And the other one was a punt return. So their offense has not scored a touchdown tonight.
Which is surprising. All right, Gary, one more time, the score update.
21-14 Chesterton over Michigan City, 7:35 remaining in this ballgame.
All righty. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate the updates. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break and then have a wild last 20 minutes of this hour.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, The Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio.
Think for a moment about all the ways Lakeshore Public Radio keeps you informed. You hear local, national, and international news throughout the day. You also hear deep dives into music, culture, art, science, and everything else that makes our lives richer. None of this happens without listener support, and it's why your contribution is so important. Please donate now at lakeshorepublicradio.org or call 877-910-8989.
Tracking down a shadow workforce.
How long has it been operating? About how many people go through the programs every year? Can you walk me through what a day in the program looks like?
On the next Reveal.
Tune in Saturday afternoon at 2 and Sunday morning at 9 here on Lakeshore Public Radio.
What's it like to look someone in the eyes and decide, do they live or do they die?
Did you murder those patients?
Playing God on the next Radio Lab.
Tune in Saturday afternoon at 1 and Sunday afternoon at 2 here on Lakeshore Public Radio.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, The Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio. And now, the Game Night broadcast team.
All right, we've got some finals coming by this way. We had just mentioned Gary Westside and Highland, a game that Gary Westside was controlling, but Highland made a furious comeback. So, Andrew, what was the score and how'd this game end up?
26-20. What's the mascot? Westside. Yeah, I was trying to think of the mascot, but yeah, Westside.
Okay, well,
Cougars.
The Cougars.
Thank
right.
you. Yes.
So it appears that although Westside was winning pretty handily, they were in a situation that Highland fought back valiantly, and they just couldn't hold on at the end there.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like, and yeah, definitely a not really what everybody expected to see tonight, but hats off to Westside.
Yeah, and basically, this is a big win for Westside. There's no doubt about it. Traveling to Highland on their field, and Highlands kind of had their way with Westside in the last few years.
Right.
So those young men are on the bus just probably as happy as can be.
And good for them. Anytime you have a situation where you're winning a game on the road, it's definitely something that you're excited about.
Right.
And it's absolutely it makes your weekend, and this is a long weekend to have it made, right?
Right. That's no doubt about it.
So we're in a situation now where we're kind of waiting for some updates here on some of these games. Excited to hear what's going to happen with Crown Point and Maryville. That game has become almost a situation where Maryville has to have a desperation touchdown here at the end to save their undefeated season. And
the same thing with Chesterton, Michigan City. Michigan City had a 14-13 lead. All of a sudden, Chesterton puts 7 on the board, and now Michigan City on the road needs to fight back and to get a score or something here to tie it up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a situation that it's the crunch time, right?
Right.
And what teams have those crunch genes? You never know what's going to happen, and it's now or never.
That's right.
You need to win the game. So Coach, when you're trying to motivate a team in the crunch time, what are the types of things that you have to do to help guide your players?
Whatever is working at that point, you need to make sure that you continue to have confidence in your system. If it is pressuring the quarterback, if it is running the football, you don't want to make mistakes now. You want the kids to be successful in execution and also in confidence that they can maintain the lead or at least take the momentum and get the lead.
How does confidence play into this? There are certain teams that have a situation that they're not as confident. Sometimes the ball doesn't go their way in that circumstance.
Well, as a team, you get those kids together on the sideline, your offense, your defense, whatever, and they need to understand that confidence can really motivate and help win.
Well, speaking of crunch time, we've got Gary Graben with an update for Chesterton versus Michigan City. Gary, what's up?
We've been waiting to say his name all evening. Tyler Bush, the quarterback for Michigan City, a 2-yard touchdown run. The crucial extra point was good. It is 21-21 with 4:57 to go out at Chesterton.
My goodness. So someone has the clutch gene there, right? So that
I would say so. Again, we talked about how the Michigan City offense has been AWOL all evening. But here, finally, a drive and a successful punch-in for Bush. Again, this is one of those games now with 4:57 to go. Can Chesterton orchestrate a drive that's going to also finish the clock off, win the game here? We're leaving very little time left. We'll see. Are we headed to overtime? You never know.
You never know. So still some time left on the clock. Like we said earlier, there's plenty of a game to be played. Now, how many minutes are left?
4:57.
4:57. So there's quite a bit left, Gary.
Yes, there is. There's time to exchange punts here.
All right. So one more time, the update and on the score and the time.
Again, the Tyler Bush 2-yard touchdown run for Michigan City brings the Wolves into a tie with Chesterton, 21-all, 4:57 left in the ballgame.
All right, Gary, thank you for the update.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to move from Gary Graben to Ryan Sosnowski for Crown Point versus Maryville. Ryan, what's going on out there?
J.J. Johnson again. Fourth touchdown of the game, ran the option again. Extra point was blocked. Crown Point leads 48-34 with 1 minute and 4 seconds left in the game.
My goodness. So Maryville is going to need a miracle to take this game over. So what is happening here with the Maryville defense? Have they given up, or are they just worn down too much? Do we know what's going on there?
I would say this is probably the first game, where where it's probably the first game where the other team had such lengthy possessions. And it just looks like they wore down the Maryville defense between Elijah Taiwan and J.J. Johnson just running the ball. And, it just seemed to really wear him down.
Ryan, it looks like the offensive line for Crown Point is just kind of, in the second half especially, just kind of dominated the game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And even when I interviewed, when I talked to Coach Steitz earlier on in the week as well, he did say that Crown Point might have the advantage on the offensive line because they just gave J.J. Johnson so much time to react. It's almost like he can make a peanut butter sandwich and eat it before he throws the football.
All right, Ryan, one more time. What is the update?
Crown Point leads 48-34 in the fourth quarter with 1 minute and 4 seconds left.
All right, thank you. Thank you much, Ryan. Well, looking forward to hearing how that goes when it gets final.
Will do. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move from Ryan on Crown Point versus Maryville to Coach Casey McKim, the New Prairie football head coach, who is coming off a victory against Lowell. Coach, congratulations on a solid victory.
Thank you very much. Our defense really played amazing tonight. We started with scoring 17 points in the first quarter, but really started to struggle as the game wore on, got very physical, and we're just really happy with the way our defense came out tonight and did their job.
Now, Coach, you were out to a 17-0 lead, but coming out of halftime, Lowell made some adjustments, and they did march down and score a touchdown. What did you have to do to quell that momentum?
Honestly, we were able to move the ball some. We just were kind of shooting ourselves in the foot with some of our penalties. In the end, the defense was able to get the ball back to us. We were able to kind of move the ball and really bleed some clock, but in the end, it was really our defense that gave us an opportunity until the last drive when we put it away.
So, Coach, with your defense really taking care of business, holding Lowell to 7 points on their home field, let's talk about the offense a little bit because obviously you scored 24. You did get the job done there on the offensive end.
Absolutely, we had some real opportunities. We missed some opportunities on some double move, some slant and goes. Some arrow routes that we had on some key third downs that we didn't quite execute to keep the chains moving in the second half. But in the end, our offense really came out early on, was able to set the tempo. We're physical, winning at the point of attack. But as the game wore on, it got more and more physical, and the yards were harder to come by. But in the end, still proud of their effort.
All right, Coach. One more question for you before we let you go. We know you got to let you got a long road ahead of you to get back to Rolling Prairie. Talk about Noah Mungia and his performance today. He had an exceptional performance against a tough Lowell defense.
Absolutely. He ran hard. He was very patient. He really has the burst. Once he gets through the line, he had a couple that could have been even bigger plays, and he got tripped up a little bit. But he just really keeps grinding. He runs hard. It's hard on a defense because it's really hard to make that tackle when you have a guy who's exerting a lot of energy and a lot of force moving the pile.
Coach, this is Wayne Swetnoff. I just want to say you've got to be really, really pleased with your offensive line. This young man, Mungie, is an outstanding runner, but your offensive line has to be opening up some really nice holes for him.
Absolutely. We've actually really had some difficulty. We lost our center last week. We lost our center in the middle of the game, actually, today, who was his backup. And so our offensive line is just continuing to grow and get better. It's a group that we really had to replace a lot of guys this year, but they're very coachable. They're always working to get better and get those details, and just really proud of their effort because at the end of the night, there was times where they were a little bit more physical than us, but at the very end of the night when it mattered and to put the game away, we were more physical than they were.
All right, Coach, and I just wanted to add, Coach McKim knows his offensive line, and for the listeners here at home, Coach McKim and I started right next to each other on the same offensive line at Valparaiso High School. So I just want to say congratulations, Coach, and let you get back to your kids and let you have a good hour and a half drive home.
Thank you very much. Go Cougars.
All right, Coach. So that's Casey McKim, one of the best coaches in Indiana. Young guy in his third year at New Prairie, and he's absolutely put together a really decent program, and he's in a position where he has his eyes set on state.
What I'm impressed with, Ben, is not the fact that he started next to you, but what I'm impressed with is that he followed Russ Ratke,
right,
who had a lot of success at New Prairie, and New Prairie has not missed a beat. They don't run the wishbone like Russ did, but he's put his system in. The kids bought into that system. Right. Last year's success just, really blossomed that team and their notoriety. And he's done a heck of a job.
He has done a heck of a job. And he has always been a bright mind in football and in basketball, as a matter of fact. A lot of people don't know he was an excellent basketball player as well. So he's a student of the game. And anytime, like we've been saying earlier, you find those puzzle pieces, you put them in the right spot. And when you're in a situation where, maybe if I put this guy here, Coach McKim is an excellent example of someone who can think outside the box and put those people where they need to be. So congratulations to New Prairie, a solid victory over there against Lowell. Lowell is they're in a bit of a hard spot, right?
Yeah, they really are. They're in a little slump, and they're going to come out of it. Lowell has too many good coaches. Coach Kilmer over there is an excellent coach. Go ahead.
So yeah, it's definitely a circumstance where they're going to get their feet underneath them. They always do. And again, they've been playing some really good programs here the last to start the season. Let's be honest with ourselves. They've been playing some really good programs, and they're playing against Crown Point. That's week 1. Look at Crown Point right now.
Right. Boy, I'm really amazed. Crown Point 48, Maryville 34, and there's a minute or so left in that particular ball game, and the way that they have come back in the second half. Right. I know if people were listening to the radio and they weren't at the game, they're thinking, okay, Crown Point's dead at halftime. No way. And there's no way that, a good coach like Mazia is going to let that happen.
The reports of Crown Point's demise were greatly exaggerated.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So, yes, they were down by 2 touchdowns at halftime, and they're going to end up, if the score holds, they're going to end up winning by 2 touchdowns.
Right.
Do that math. That is an incredible performance in the second half, and Coach Mazia, I think he knows what he's doing.
I think so. Yeah, he's one of the best. I'll tell you.
Oh, he is, and a nice guy. And from all I've heard is from other coaches and other people in the media that he's intense on the field, but a true gentleman off the field.
Yeah.
So that's always good to see that type of person and dealing with them here on our side of things. So, Coach, what are some of the things that are surprising you, as we've only got about 5 or so minutes left before we head off to television? Coach, how do we watch the television show?
Hey, all you have to do is at 10:30, you'll see Scoreboard on Channel 56. If you have Comcast, 17, I think, is the channel for DirecTV and stuff like that. But you can watch the Scoreboard tonight at 10:30. It is on TV, and we'll be there, Ben and I, and we'll be with you, and we'll bring all the scores to you. We'll analyze a little bit of went on tonight, and we'll maybe even look ahead just a little bit and see what's on for next week. But that is Scoreboard on Channel 56. Right here on Lakeshore Public Television.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. We'll have to get our hair and makeup done here pretty quick. So before we do that, let's head off to Ryan Sosnowski, who's got an update from Crown Point and Maryville. Ryan, what's going on?
All right. Maryville had a nice little drive down the field, passing the ball. Incredible one-handed catch by number 11, John Peters, after the pass from Jalen Thompson. With 17.9 seconds left, here comes the onside kick, it looks like. And let's see here. Sorry for the onside. The onside kick went out of bounds. So it'll be point ball here to finish up with 15.9 seconds left.
So you saw a pretty exciting game here. What do you think was the key?
Well, I'll tell you, the key points for Crown Point here were definitely protecting the quarterback, letting J.J. Johnson do his thing. Another key point was definitely wearing down the Maryville defense with, rushing attempts. And the keys for Maryville was just to try to keep it a low-scoring game as they did with Andrean and Hobart, which, like I said, Crown Point really challenged Maryville today. This could be the first time Crown Point has been Maryville since the 2018 sectional.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like I said, we got 15 seconds left. The way this game's been going, I wouldn't be surprised at anything. But
right. So you figure that Crown Point's just going to kneel the ball away. I presume that Maryville does not have any timeouts.
Yep.
So what's the score?
No more timeouts. The final score, Wayne, we won't be singing the colors of the purple and white today.
Oh.
But, I had the whole song written down, or the fight song. But Crown Point has officially won 48-40 over Maryville.
All right, Ryan, thank you so much. We really appreciate the updates. Great job tonight.
Hey, great job tonight, Ryan.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Love listening to you guys.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
So it went final, Wayne.
Yep.
Your
48-40.
Your number one prediction.
That's right.
It panned out here. So it didn't look like it towards the beginning of the game, but there's a reason why you've been doing this for so long. You know what you're doing.
So long, yes.
So, all right, we're going to go ahead. Wayne and I are going to go get pretty for television. We're going to hit a break, and Steve Schmidt and Andrew Johnson will take you home.
This is Game Night on 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore, listener-supported public radio.
Think for a moment about all of the ways Lakeshore Public Radio keeps you informed. You hear local, national, and international news throughout the day. You